My family is furious that I canceled my arranged marriage.
She's arranging a way to get away from you guys.
For context, our marriage was arranged by our families, and we only had a month to get to know each other.
30-day new wife A.
At first, I was willing to go through with it just to please my family, even though I knew I wasn't attracted to him in the slightest. My family pressured me into the marriage mainly because his family is wealthy. By the way, this comes from General Airport 1491, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
I'm Keon. I'm
And
making
OP
sure.
says, as time passed, I slowly realized I couldn't see myself living that kind of life anymore. Or forever. Still, I was ready to commit if we both understood that we had no romantic feelings for each other and treated it as a practical arrangement rather than an emotional relationship. What I didn't expect was that he would actually fall in love with me, or at least that's what he says. We had only known each other for a month, but he was already showering me with affection and attention, way more than I could ever give back. I was always indifferent and never initiated anything, and it became obvious that this was hurting him.
I would love to talk to someone that arranges marriages.
Yeah.
From my assumption,
Yeah, arrange better.
if the guy's getting set up with like a beautiful woman, the family's hopping him up. Yo, dude, I got you. Like, look at your wife, soon to be wife. Dude, check that out, dude. You're doing great. And on the other hand, the wife's like, he's okay. It's probably I feel like the guy might be led on a little bit, and that's why he's super.
Yeah. I wish that like more. I mean, like I know this happens sometimes, but it happens. But I feel like you guys, people arranging marriages, got to start finding like personality matches.
Oh yeah, not your family
Is rich.
has a calf, or
Yeah.
your family has a textile furniture company. My family's a textile furniture company.
Yeah.
We can have an empire.
Yeah. Like let's start getting personality matches in there.
Yeah, dude.
Can have a personality and a textile factory. He was constantly seeking validation to the point where he told me that if I couldn't love him, I should say so and we should call off the wedding because being with someone who loved him was important to him. That's fair. It's pretty fair.
He's not the bad guy there.
Yeah, that's just fair. I asked my family for advice and they all told me it was a good thing he was in love with me, but that love can be forced over time and that I would eventually develop feelings for him. I don't. But no matter how much time I spent with him, I couldn't appreciate him, let alone love him. His constant need for my approval and affection was suffocating and the love bombing was more off-putting than anything else. To try and make things work, I suggested we live together for a week to see how it went. And I asked him to tone down the affection because I couldn't force myself to reciprocate at this stage.
Girl, this is so mean what you're doing.
Me?
Tell him no. Tell him
Oh, well,
it's not
yeah.
going to work.
I think that if you can't feel like you can love him and you know that he needs you to love him to be in this relationship, then you have to call it off.
Don't lead him on
Yeah.
like this. He's going
gotta.
he's going to cook you so many things. He's going to put so much effort into this relationship. You're going to feel,
Yeah.
don't do that.
He agreed, and the week together seemed to go well. But after I left, my mom told me he had cried to her, asking for advice on how to make me love him and saying he missed me. That was when I realized I didn't want to babysit him. As long as he couldn't accept that I had no feelings for him, this was going to be painful for both of us. But that's not the worst part. My parents blamed me for rejecting his affection. According to them and him, I made absolutely no effort to make the relationship work while he was putting in all the effort. Everyone sided with him. I was ungrateful, inconsiderate, and should be shamed.
I wonder why.
You
I was about to
literally
say.
you like a little bit ago, your parents said, oh, you can just force love later. And now they're like, why aren't you forcing the love right now?
Remember, he has money, honey.
Yeah, force that love.
And emotions.
Yeah. Yesterday, I finally decided to end things. I told him that if he wasn't willing to date me for at least 4 more months to see if we were actually compatible, I don't want to marry him. Super reasonable.
Yeah, this is reasonable on both sides.
Yeah, to be like, let's wait a little bit and maybe I could fall in love with you, but certainly can't do it in a month. Basically, I asked him to postpone the wedding and give things a real chance first. But he wasn't okay with that. He said he didn't want to waste his time and that if I didn't love him now, there was no point in continuing.
Great. All right, we're done now.
Perfect.
Great. Perfect. Cool.
Wow, this guy is never going to find love
No, in
then.
a month? Jeez.
I think he can.
He'll find someone. Now everyone's mad at me. They keep telling me I'll never find another man like him, which is probably true. But even worse, my own parents are siding with him. They say I've ruined their relationship with his family, that he didn't deserve this, and that any other girl would have immediately accepted him. Well, then go find any other girl. They even said they don't know why they got a daughter like me.
What are the politics of your families? That's the real question. Like OP's really, her mind's on, I don't want to marry this dude. What's the broader picture here?
Yeah, why do they need to have a good relationship with his family?
What are these families going to accomplish together?
Yeah. I do feel bad for him, but I'm also angry that no one is considering my feelings. I was willing to give the marriage a chance, but only if we actually got to know each other first. He was the one who wasn't okay with that. At this point, I don't know what to do to make things better, because the only way to fix this is to completely disregard myself for the sake of everyone else's happiness. This whole situation has been really painful. My mother literally cried yesterday when I told them I was ending the relationship. Wedding preparations had already started and money had been spent, so needless to say, they're not taking it well. But the hardest part for me is knowing that my relationship with my parents might never be the same after this. If it comes to cutting ties, then so be it. I'm an adult and they're not responsible for me anymore. They also blame me for not reciprocating his feelings, despite everything he did for me. I wish I could have fallen in love with him, but I don't think it ever would have happened. In a way, I'm also doing this for him. He would have ended up miserable and resentful if we had gone through with it. For now, I just want to focus on my life and my studies. My sisters are the only ones who actually listen to me, but unfortunately, there's nothing they can do to change my parents' minds. I also come from a very religious household, and after everything that's happened, my parents are convinced that karma will come after our family because of what I've done.
Oh my goodness.
Yikes.
Girly Pop, I'm sorry.
Why don't we, I don't know. Why does OP got to be the one?
Taking the hit? It just wasn't a match. It wasn't a match
It
on his
wasn't
part.
a match.
It wasn't a match on her part.
He didn't want it either.
Yeah, let's find another family.
Start over. Breaking my promise to marry him, hurting someone's feelings, leading him on, being ungrateful, and so on.
Okay, what are the politics?
I'm
what are the
sorry.
politics here? That's what I need to know.
They wanted you to lead him on. They literally said, just marry him and you'll fall in love later. That's leading him on.
It's literally running before crawling.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I personally think I did nothing wrong. Maybe I should have rejected the arranged marriage proposal from the start, but I'm sorry for only doing it after things got serious. It honestly makes me sad that they truly believe this and are now worried about our future. I just hope it doesn't end up causing them too much stress. And there are some comments, but yeah, you did nothing wrong.
You just got a different pace.
Comment 1. I know you were probably brought up in a way that you would feel bad about this, but you are not to blame at all. Do what is best for you. Your family doesn't carry the consequences of this. You do. In a few months, they'll be fine with your decision, but if you go against yourself, you might never be okay with it. So listen to yourself. You're doing the right thing. Comment 2 says you'll never find another man like him. That's exactly the point. You've made the right decision and saved yourself from many unhappy years. You deserve to be happy. Comment 3, you got your answer when he refused to consider investing 4 months into a relationship, but then wants 40 years of commitment? Reply says that's how it works in arranged marriages. Sad, but the truth. 4 to 6 months is the maximum time some families, if they allow, will give you. Majority, you have to make a decision within weeks to 3 months max. Crazy. And there is an update, but yeah, don't go through with it.
Don't do it. I wish we had a friend that does arranged marriages so we can ask how this is, because I don't know, if I was a matchmaker and I knew neither of them really vibed with each other, it would be a disservice to have them work together.
I feel like that would be bad for your business, but it doesn't seem like there's not a matchmaker involved. It's the two families.
I recently watched a video essay about the cheating culture in Japan, and that marriages were a business affair between families. And usually once they get married, they live in separate households, and the man would have mistresses, and the wife could have a partner, but if they're seen with a partner, they could be charged for it. The man can get away with it, but the wife couldn't. And that changed in 1942. Thus, it's kind of a new thing to be monogamous rather than cheating. So some people's ideas about cheating, most people in Japan are like, you can't cheat at all. But it's usually what happens if your boyfriend cheats with a prostitute? They're like, all right. It's that's kind of what's happened beforehand. So that's the conditioning there. And I feel I don't know what this culture is specifically, but if it's just between two families, I feel like the system should change where, arranged marriages could still happen, but it needs to jive and everyone needs to be happy in this.
I mean,
it shouldn't be a one-sided relationship.
Yeah. Why would you not want your child to be happy?
Yeah, and then resentment in a relationship. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I also don't think that arranged marriages are necessarily bad. I think that there are a lot of instances where arranged marriages work out really well. Because it's literally just like a family being like, hey, I feel like this person would be. It's not a forced marriage. That's different. Forced marriage, bad. But like arranged marriage, it's usually just two people being like, or two families being like, hey, we know a guy.
Yeah, the good thing that I've heard about arranged
Yeah.
marriages is like your family knows you.
Yeah.
And they can find someone.
And usually within your own culture. So you have a lot of like cultural, sameness.
And they're not just setting you up with someone.
Yeah.
Like the way the family's going about here.
Bad.
But other ways it's like, oh yeah, guess who else I found that likes the bicycle?
But there is an update. I ended things with my ex-fiance, but there was an arrangement we made at the beginning of our relationship with him and his family. Since he was already considering me as his bride and the wedding was just the final step to formalize things, he offered to pay for all of my monthly tuition fees until the end of the school year. My parents and I accepted, since that's how things work in our culture.
Oh boy, you got to pay that back somehow.
Now that we've broken up, he reached out to my parents and told them that since he gave it his word, he would still pay for my university expenses for the rest of the semester.
Oh,
Dang.
wow.
Wow. That's nice.
I could see where he could be a little hurt here.
Yeah. I think it's really considerate and generous of him, and since it was part of the original agreement, my parents accepted. They were like, yeah, well, I guess because we made the agreement, we have to do it. It'd be rude to not accept.
In your thesis, you better thank him. You
Yeah.
better. For this person.
Yeah, thanks to my almost husband. But we would thank you if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story.
Keon, anything?
For the parents, it was always about the money.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
And they're still, they're getting something out of it. So
yeah, the fact that this is happening, they're like, oh, wait,
They're like,
maybe
okay,
we're
not that
okay with you,
mad.
daughter.
We're not that mad, I guess.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were not mad anymore.
No, they're still pretty mad because they're like,
Yeah.
we could have had that
Could
money
have been
too.
way more rich. If it were up to me, I would have thanked him and declined the offer. But I feel like I don't really have a say in it. My family isn't as wealthy as his, and it's going to help us out financially, especially since I don't have a job yet. But I'm also really conflicted and can't shake the feeling that it's wrong, even though he insists it's not about that, and he's just keeping his word. I feel like I'm taking advantage of him. I'm not sure what to do. Should I just accept it and move on, or should I say something? And comment 1, considering that man's feelings towards you, that feels like this is a gift with strings attached. That's what I think, but
Yeah.
it also feels like, I don't know if you could even say no, because this feels like more of a your family and him decision. Unless it's going to make your family social pariahs, I would politely decline. OP says, it means I have to convince my parents to refuse his help because the money goes directly into their bank account. I'm not sure if this is a gift with strings attached. He insists it's purely about keeping his word to my parents and has nothing to do with his feelings for me. But at the same time, it's clear he's struggling with his feelings. It's not exactly going to make them social pariahs, but it would help them financially. Comment
Still,
2, yeah.
The family wanted a financial gain from this arrangement, and they're getting it without you
Yeah.
getting married to him. I would decline.
I would too, but I don't think it's really OP's decision.
Dang.
Comment 2 says, it sounds like trying to convince your parents is not going to work. If you already told your ex that you feel it's wrong to accept money from him and he still wants to pay for your schooling, then that's his choice. If he tries to use it against you later, please keep screenshots of your conversation where you told him you do not want him to pay for your schooling and remind him that you did not want to accept his money. I wish the best for you in this situation. No one deserves to force love. And that is the end of that story, but I agree. And I'm glad that you did not go through with it, because that would have been a bad decision.
It would have not been good for anyone.
But that's the end of that story, and we've got another one coming right up. My whole family ditched my wedding.
Oh, man. Must have been a bad wedding.
As the title says, I, 33 male, got married 3 months ago to my lovely wife.
Cute.
We had a wonderful wedding, and it felt great to have so many of my friends fly in and make it a great day for us. But a few days before the ceremony, my family told me they would not be there.
Ooh.
By the way, this comes from Historical Sunlight, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Sam.
I'm the third daughter, Keon.
And OP says, some background. My mom and dad separated when I was very young. They never divorced and raised my older brother and I in an environment that made us feel like we were still one family unit. We lived with my mom, and my dad visited us on birthdays and holidays. He lived a couple of states away, but we never went to him, instead just keeping in touch on the phone in between visits. It feels dumb to admit, but as a child, I naively felt this was a normal arrangement. We carried on this way for years until I was 22 and decided to make a road trip to visit my dad. I called to let him know I was nearby, and over the phone, he seemed defensive and nervous. Finally, he agreed to come meet me at a nearby restaurant. I waited at a table as he entered with a woman I'd never seen before. It turns out it was his live-in girlfriend that he'd had for years. Honestly, it didn't surprise me that he was with someone else, and in a way, I was happy for him. She's actually great, and we got along well. But on this same trip, I learned that my dad was married to yet another woman before he married my mother.
Like there was crossover? Or?
I don't know.
Okay.
In this marriage, he had 4 children. 4 half-siblings I never knew about. My mom was aware of this too, and neither of them ever spoke a word of it to me or my brother for 20 plus years.
So we got a secret family.
Dang.
Secret family.
Dang.
I love a secret family story.
It just feels like the parents never really, face anything. They didn't get
They
divorced.
just hide it up.
Yeah, they just separated. They didn't tell anyone about the kids. They just
kept it under wraps.
kept it, yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. I feel like you should definitely tell your current family about your secret family.
It was shocking to learn that my entire childhood, my dad still had joint custody of his kids from his first marriage. That's
Would he just go on business trips? Like, how do they keep
That's insane.
How do they keep that hidden? That's crazy.
And was helping to raise them through high school. After learning this, I didn't speak to him for a year as I needed to digest the information and understand what it all meant. My mother tried to give me an explanation, but it always kind of fell flat. She's the type of person who doesn't want to rock the boat and likes to sweep problems under the rug. So in a way, it made sense she would go along with keeping my brother and I in the dark about this. Eventually, I decided to try to be the bigger person for the good of my family. I began talking to my dad again. Everyone began to spend time together again, even including my dad's girlfriend.
Okay, so they're kind of just like, I'm going to get through this.
Yeah, they're like, all right, I guess
you
we'll
got a
push
secret
this under
family.
I
push
guess
this under
that's
the rug.
fine.
I mean, I guess it's not under the rug anymore. It's on top of the rug, and everyone's like, all right, like, I guess that's on the rug now.
Just kind of sweep it to the side.
Sweep it. I think it's front and center. I feel it's just there.
It's just
there.
It's
Everyone's
a coffee
comfortable.
table.
There's an elephant in the room, and
Yeah.
everyone's greeting it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Francine. Happy birthday.
But it is pretty insane for OP to not know about this for 22 years.
It is crazy.
Soon after, I graduate college at 23 and move several states away to take a job. Initially, things were good. My brother gets married, and I'm the best man at his wedding. He has his first daughter. After never being financially stable, I start to flourish in my career. We all keep in touch regularly at first. I go back home to see my family several times a year, and we all get together around the holidays. But after living away for a few years, no one ever comes to visit me. It's always me going back home. They always make vague plans to visit, but something always comes up.
The other family. That's the other family
Yeah.
comes up. The OG family.
He's busy.
Yeah, he's busy. I usually, your secret family is your practice family, but I think you might have been the practice family. Now he's going back to OG
He's
family.
like, okay, I've perfected it. I'm on my way back.
Yeah, I'm on my way
guys."
back.
I begin to feel like the glue holding the family together, and it annoys me that no one ever takes the effort to see me. My brother's family begins to grow, so obviously my mom and dad place emphasis on spending time with them. 3 years ago, I met a lovely woman who is the best part of my life. She's gorgeous, charming, and we get along like the best friends we are.
That sounds incredible.
Sounds lovely. My career continues to take off, and things feel like they're going my way after years of feeling lost and aimless. At the same time, my brother starts to struggle financially, and I can tell the pressure of supporting a family weighs on him. I help him out where I can to help make ends meet, or to provide gifts for my nieces during the holidays, what brothers do. Last year, I got engaged, and my family was so happy for us. We even bought a house together, and things started to feel like they were really coming together. I was truly proud of where I was for the first time in my life. We planned a beautiful wedding that I'd hope would finally bring my wife's family and mine together for the first time. Because of lockdown, they had never been able to meet each other. My mom gets a lovely dress she's excited to wear at the wedding, And knowing that my mom and brother still suffer financially, I take care of travel and lodging for the wedding. I get plane tickets for my mother, brother, sister-in-law, and 3 nieces. I also find a really nice Airbnb for them because I want to treat them on this important time. Our wedding is on a Friday, and 3 days before, they start to back out of coming. That's
no.
crazy.
Also, like 3 days before is rough because
3
you know they
days
already
before, they've already
RSVP'd.
Yeah.
They've paid for people. Like, what is
3
more important
days?
than
Your
maybe,
son's wedding.
or maybe it's the secret family's wedding.
Ooh. My mom leaves me a voicemail saying that she has a cold and won't be able to come, but she feels bad about not being able to make it. Get over your cold. You have 3 days.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask.
Or
Get over your
hazmat
cold
suit.
in 3 days.
Yeah.
It's not the
Presumably.
vid.
Yeah, no,
Presumably.
it's just a cold.
In 3 days, you'll feel fine.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
I call my brother 2 days before to confirm he'll be there, and he tells me his youngest daughter isn't feeling well with a stomach ache. 2 days. Got 2 days to give her some Pepto or
Pepto-Bismol.
I don't know, man. Give her a Tums. She'll be fine. Tell her tough it out. He tells me he won't be able to come because he needs to take her to the doctor, even though my sister-in-law's parents live right next door to them and take care of the girls all the time anyway. Finally, my dad and his girlfriend back out. He claims he is still
No.
concerned about the vid, which may be true, but sounds suspiciously like so many other excuses he's given over the years, especially since he could have driven instead of flying to the wedding. My fiance starts crying when she hears all this and wonders if we should call off the wedding, but I insist we go ahead. After never being there, I was so excited for my family to be by my side on my big day, and they still can't make it work. At this point, I feel abandoned, disrespected, and used. I spent thousands trying to fly them out on top of an already expensive wedding. I realized that my brother never really contacts me anymore except to ask to borrow money. My wife was disrespected on her wedding day. She should have had a new family eagerly welcoming her like her family did for me. It has caused a huge rift between her and my family right at the beginning of our marriage. It was humiliating to have each of my friends come up to me and ask if it was really true that my family didn't show up. Why are they asking you that on your wedding day?
Is it really true?
Is it really true your family hates you and they didn't show up?
Are the newspapers, are they real? Is the news in? That
Yeah.
you're a
Have some
loser
tact.
and no one loves you?
That's
Dude, that's
crazy.
crazy. That's crazy. Do you need some space from your family?
Yeah. Either day of or like after the
That's
wedding,
so
I would say,
sad.
hey, you guys have never shown up for me. I'm going to take some space. I'd have to answer each one each time, getting harder not to cry. At a beautiful, happy wedding with 60 guests, I had 0 family present.
Oh,
Ugh. I was strong for my wife. I didn't want it to be a sad day for her, and we both truly had a great time. But now I can't even look at wedding pictures. It feels like both the best and worst day of my life.
that's tragic.
Ugh. At this point, I don't know what to do anymore. I don't have the energy or desire to try to keep our relationship going. For literally over a decade, I've been providing for my family. I've been there for them. But after being disappointed, lied to, taken advantage of, and now abandoned in the most public way possible, I need to move on.
Wait, and really quick, OP is helping out his family members
Yes.
financially too.
Financially, he's coming back a lot, and they've never once
OP is putting in
reciprocated.
the work.
Mhm.
Oh,
My wife and I have the most fun, happiest, drama-free relationship, and I'm so excited to be starting this adventure together. I feel like my family is nothing but toxic at this point. How can I ever reconcile our relationship? Is it even worth it? Do I just move on, and how? I hate giving up, and I hate failure.
I mean, really quick, a relationship is a bridge that starts from each end of the river, and like you have to have someone at least build a little bit of that bridge. It doesn't necessarily always have to be right in the middle equal, but like if someone doesn't start building their bridge, it's not going to feel like you're in that relationship together.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
bridge is just going to keep collapsing.
Your bridge is going to keep collapsing. You need a little bit of a foundation there. So it sucks, but like I think if you put in a lot more effort than someone else, you're just going to feel sad. You know, you can maybe start to match their effort. And that might be hurtful to you a bit short term, but I feel like long term it'll protect your heart.
I agree. I'm a loyal person, and it tears me up to turn my back on someone, especially my own blood. I don't know what to do anymore. And OP responds to some comments asking, when your family contacts you after all of this again, probably asking for money because that's usually how these things go with exploiters. Please hold strong to your self-respect and tell them to go F themselves.
Yeah, agreed.
I forgot to mention that my brother already has reached out to ask for money since the wedding.
You're
Wow.
kidding. They're
Wow.
shameless.
Oh, I would yell at them.
They literally just see you as a meal ticket.
Yeah.
Like that is
Your little piggy bank.
that is so sad. OP, you deserve more than that.
ATMs don't have weddings, right?
Oh, boom.
I asked him why he only reaches out when he needs money, and he flipped out saying, "That's effing BS." He said he was going to mail a laptop back to me. I got a laptop for him last summer. He was searching for jobs and really needed a new one to send out resumes because he didn't want me to hold that over his head too. He never sent it back though. I don't want him to. And he has since removed me on social media. Did they act interested in coming? I'm wondering how much of the buying tickets, booking lodging, etc. was wishful thinking on your part. Maybe they really were trying to be cautious because of the vid. This is fair to consider, and believe me, we didn't take it lightly that we were having our wedding during these uncertain times. My wife's grandparents did not make it because we insisted it was too risky for them. Others opted out too, but they let us know in the RSVP.
Which is when you should let someone know.
I totally understand, but the way they backed out at the last minute fits a pattern that has been going on for decades. There is a little truth to the point that taking care of their travel was wishful thinking on my part, but also I genuinely didn't want it to be a burden for them. Also, my wife and I realized after the wedding, in all the frenzy of wedding planning, we sent my mom and brother details about the Airbnb, but completely forgot to email them the flight details, flight number, departure time, etc. They never asked for them. Pretty sure they never planned to come and just waited until the last minute to tell us. Yeah. Also, my brother and sister-in-law weren't even thoughtful enough to send a card, text, or wedding gift. But it would be thoughtful for you guys to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Do it.
There is a little bit left to this story, but oof.
Yeah. Kim Fine said something about how if you're always trying to bridge that gap, like you're in such a people pleaser mode and you end up just having like these like issues in the relationship. And I feel like OP has maybe been in people pleaser mode for a long time.
Absolutely.
And finally like has an example of what a healthy relationship looks like with their
and
fiance.
Also healthy family.
And a healthy family
with
looks
OP's,
like.
Fiance's family.
And so like now I was realizing maybe I don't need to stand for this kind of treatment. Maybe I do deserve more. Maybe I can be treated the way that I want to be treated. And sometimes it takes like a good relationship to model what that could look like. I'm honestly happy that this happened to OP because now OP can shed some dead weight and relationships that just don't serve her at all.
Very much agreed. But there is a little bit left.
Let's hear it.
Your family did show up. Your chosen family consisting of your friends was by your side on your big day. OP responds, "This is so true and is a gift to learn that I have friends like that. When they found out I wouldn't have family at the wedding, they knew it was going to be tough for me, but they didn't make a big deal of pointing that out. They just showed up harder, exactly what I needed." Didn't you say all of your friends kept saying your family really didn't show up? Maybe these aren't the friends that you were talking about.
I mean, maybe they didn't say it like that. They're like, "Hey, like I heard your family didn't show up," or
That
like, "Is it
sucks
true that
for
your
you.
family didn't show up?" Like,
Is it
lose
really
No,
true
no.
that your family hates you?
No, I mean, I imagine they maybe did it in a more of like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that happened."
Hopefully.
My father sent me away for his new wife. Now he wants to rekindle.
You don't get a second chance.
Okay, so I've been attending boarding school since I was 10. I started the 5th grade at my boarding school. The reason why I started going so early is that my dad remarried when I was 9. My mother passed away when I was a baby. When he remarried my stepmom and she got pregnant with my brother, she insisted that I be sent to boarding school so that they could start fresh.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
You can't just start fresh with a child.
By the way, this comes from Not That Into, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, I use quotes because I used to hear them talking about it when I still lived there. I actually heard the discussions they'd have at night when they thought I was sleeping. She said a lot of hurtful things about me potentially being like my mother and possibly being a bad influence on their future children. I guess she convinced him because he gave in and they sent me away. So I went to boarding school. They had my brother and then my sister, and I only see them in the summers and some holidays. In fact, a lot of holidays I spend with my friends' families, which my father has always signed off on. This especially confuses me, considering his change of heart this summer. I mean, I've spent the last 4 Thanksgiving holidays in other people's houses without comment.
That's so sad.
A lot.
You don't have a family, man.
That's so sad.
At first, I was extremely depressed. I was really attached to my father as a kid, and it took me a long time to deal with being sent away, especially when my siblings were born. I felt a lot of betrayal and resentment. But then I grew to deal with it. What really helped, and still helps, is that I have a wonderful group of friends at school, and the adults there are really supportive. My closest 2 friends have been there since I arrived. I feel like they're my family. What really helped and still helps is that I have a wonderful group of friends at school, and the adults there are really supportive. My closest 2 friends have been there since I arrived. I feel like they're my family. Also, a lot of the kids I go to school with deal with what I'm dealing with in some form or another. And this has given me a lot of perspective.
It's nice that you made friends with the kids whose parents like them.
Additionally, and I am really grateful for this and understand that in a lot of ways I've been given an amazing opportunity and have nothing to complain about in this respect.
You have a lot. You could complain about things. That's okay. But you have a
complain.
really good mentality about it.
Yeah. I go to a really nice school. I love the grounds. I love my classes. I love the extracurriculars. I love my teachers, and I love my friends. The picture people paint of boarding school isn't the one that I experience. It's pretty easy for me to say that I prefer being at school 100 times more than I prefer being at my father and stepmom's home.
Aw, you're Harry Potter.
Literally. When I'm in their home, I feel like an outsider. They do their thing and I do mine. It's especially awful though because I still get the sense that my stepmother doesn't want me around when I'm there. She barely acknowledges me, and I know she influences my brother and sister to not interact with me.
Dang.
I know because I took them to a theme park 2 weeks back, and they told me this after a full day of having fun together. That's crazy.
Ouch.
So, as much as I appreciate that I get to have the experiences I do at school, I can't seem to distance myself from the distaste of my father and stepmom. In order to avoid being disrespectful or coming off as rude, I just try to minimize the time I spend with them when I'm in their home for the summer. I don't have any friends there, so this means I go on hikes, go on runs, go to the movies, whatever I can just to be active or out and about without getting into trouble. Which brings me to the problem.
Uh-oh.
My father kind of blindsided me yesterday. He sat down with me while I was eating breakfast, which never happens, and told me he's concerned that I haven't wanted to spend time with the family. Do you want to be like, hey, ask your wife why that is?
Oh, wait. I thought you guys wanted a fresh start.
Right. I literally heard you guys say that.
Yeah.
I was confused because I never perceived this need from him, nor any space for it. He works all year round and all day. My stepmother is always ferrying my brother and sister to something or off with her friends. So I didn't even think they wanted that. He then said that he wants to keep me there for my final 2 years of high school and enroll me in the nearby private school so that I can be with the family. And I just panicked. I get stellar grades and I'm doing well at school. Every report he's gotten has been good. I expressed this to him, but I was so distraught at the idea of not going back that he insisted my distress was an indication of how unattached from the family I was.
The thing is, he's not wrong. Like, that is
Right,
true.
that's why he wants to go back, because he has no...
OP has no connection to their family, and therefore you're ripping them away from the only family that they have
Right.
at this school.
It's like, the last 2 years of high school
Yeah, in the last
is
2 years of high school.
insane. He's
What
not
are you
friends.
doing? Yeah.
I know I could have handled it better, but I blew up at him after he said this. I told him he was the reason I wasn't attached to the family, and that removing me from school would only remove me from the one place I had any real family. This made him angry, and he left saying he was resolved to remove me. I didn't know what to do. How could I convince him to let me go back? I felt like I was a kid again. It was the same feeling all over again, and I was so angry. We have some relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, I expect that once your stepmother learns what your father has said, she will convince him to change his mind.
Yeah, maybe you can use her against or for you.
Commenter 2 says, the stepmother might actually be a good last resort strategy here. If you try the letter writing or having a friend's parent or a teacher talk to your father and he doesn't change his mind, then you've got nothing to lose in trying to enlist your stepmother to convince him. For her own selfish reasons, it sounds like she would agree you should go back to the school, and she is probably the person most likely to influence your father. OP responds, oh God, I really hope so. Commenter 3 says, you need to be honest with him. He'll be shocked and deny it, but if you're honest, he'll understand. You need to tell him you heard when you were 10 the reason you were shipped to boarding school is so that his family could start fresh. At the time, you resented it, being displaced, but you found what you were missing at home, acceptance. You are now thriving at school, with friends who willingly and wanting have you over for Thanksgiving. You don't feel the same at his house. You feel like an intruder, not a true member of the family.
I do think, though, that if you go that route, I think he's just going to be like, well, that's why you need to stay here and connect with the family.
Oh, at that point, you just be like, it's too late for that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no, academically, this would mess me up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the route.
Even your brother and sister admitted that your stepmom instructed them to treat you this way. Then you drop the truth bombshell. You will always resent him for picking his new family over you, but you will resent him even more if he displaces you from the only place where you felt welcome. This conversation will not be easy, so feel free to write it as a letter instead. You are 15. You don't get to call the shots, but you're old enough to demand your opinions be heard. Your father is an absentee parent. He needs to learn the truth. OP says, I really like the idea of writing a letter. I'm going to clear my head and get started on writing it so I can deliver it to him as soon as possible. I really appreciate this feedback. Thanks. OP says when asked if the reason the father wants OP closer to home at a local school is for financial reasons, I'm not sure. It doesn't appear as if there are any money problems. I know that my tuition is very expensive, but based off the family's lifestyle, it seems like nothing. I don't know if I'm being naive with this assumption, though. I don't want to be too detailed for the sake of anonymity, but I know he works in a field and for a company that makes what a lot of people consider problematic amounts of money. I don't know if anything has changed for him. It's just never a thing he's discussed without me, and I've never asked him about his money. We have an update.
Dang.
But any more thoughts?
I will say it does feel like such a rich parent move to be like, I'm sending you to boarding school
Yes.
because I don't want to parent you anymore.
Right.
So long, child.
I just hope that he can go back to his friends.
Yeah. I really hope they don't, steal you away from your friends. I don't know how you would have that conversation, though, with your dad. Because
Yeah. I mean,
legally,
I think
he
if
does
things
have a
are
right.
right, but
you
I mean,
know?
technically, if things are like that bad at home, and I do feel like a court would need them to be a little bit worse. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
there is a way to get like your rights over your parents. What's
Emancipation?
that called? You can get
Mhm.
emancipated, but I
Yeah.
think that
I think it would have
your
to be
word
worse.
against theirs,
Because they could just be like, well, we're paying for OP school.
right?
Yeah.
Update. I decided to write an email to my father. In it, I apologized for my outburst, expressed my understanding that we should develop a better relationship, and said that I wanted one as well. I don't know if I really want this, but based on feedback, it seemed smart to include. I explained that pulling me out of my school would not result in that goal. I offered alternatives, like FaceTiming regularly and more consistent visits during the holidays, like Thanksgiving. I also suggested that maybe we should do something together during this holiday so that we could talk and catch up. We used to hike a lot together when I was a kid, and I suggested we go on one together, like this weekend. I feel like I've been a responsible and productive student at boarding school, pointing out that I head the diversity club, have provided peer tutoring each year since 8th grade, and have maintained a good GPA. I said that disrupting my schooling might be counterproductive. I explained that my outburst was due to these details rather than my not wanting to be closer to him.
Smart.
That's good. I closed out by saying I know he wants what's best for me, and I want to work with him to make that happen.
I honestly think this is a way better route than going the you don't I'm not
Yeah.
connected to you. You'd be pulling me away from the people that I actually care about, because I think that the dad would respond
Right.
with we
negatively.
need to get you home.
Right. No, this
So
is
I
good to
think
just
this
be
was
like,
smarter.
look how involved I am. Like,
Yeah.
you'd
And,
be preventing so much growth.
Yeah, you would actually be connecting with me further by doing
Right, right.
Yeah.
So now I'm waiting for his reply. I'm pretty anxious because I honestly don't know how he'll respond. I'm taking advice given to me here, though, and trying to make plans in my mind for any response. I haven't told any of my friends yet because I know they'll tell their parents, who may contact him, and I can't be sure how he'll react. If he refuses after my email, maybe I'll try to have an adult intervene. I'm still thinking it through. We have another update, which I think is the response.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I think OP handled it great, though.
I think you handled it as well as you could handle it.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't let you, then that's totally not your fault, and it really, really sucks. But I feel like that you did all that you could.
Yeah. Update 2. He responded. When we spoke, I told you I had made my decision. Oh, that stance has not changed.
No.
And I am disappointed that you have chosen to ignore my words.
No.
Do not forget that you are still a child under my care, despite what you may feel. One day, you will see the wisdom in this and be thankful. I'm currently on my way out on business and will be back on Saturday. Until I return and am able to speak in person, I do not want to hear or read another word about this issue. Oh,
Dang.
OP, I'm so sad for you.
This is so sad. OP.
Oh. I want to contact my headmaster and dorm parent. I have good relationships with them, but now I really feel if they contact him, that will be the end of it. I think I messed this up. I shouldn't have sent that email. I should have waited. I don't know. My friends' parents are all pretty influential and well known in my dad and stepmom's social circle, and I'm worried it will humiliate them if they find out about this issue or try to intervene. I feel so paralyzed.
OP, I don't think that you did anything wrong. I think that you handled it the best that you could. And also, I think that you handled it really well considering you're 15 years old.
Yeah.
You know, wow, the amount of emotional maturity that you have. And also just, tactically very, smart moves made
Yeah.
in the letter. Obviously, they didn't work. But
I
still
think that
very
was the most you could
clever.
have done. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, I really hope that you're able to go back and maybe, I don't know, I think that you should tell a trusted adult.
Yeah.
And, you can tell them, hey, I don't want you to intervene, but I do want advice.
Yeah. Update 3, though. I'm going back to school.
Yay!
A lot has happened in a short period of time. I don't think I dealt with my father's email in the smartest way, but it worked. Advice telling me to speak to my stepmom really stuck with me. I felt so desperate that I spoke to my stepmom about the situation. It became very obvious very quickly that she had no clue that my father had wanted this.
Oh, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I guess.
Yeah.
Just sorry, your OP's
You want to live here
pouring
with
out-
us?
OP's I just really, all of my friends and my loved ones are at this school and I really want to go back. And she's like, pause. He said that you were coming here You're
No,
going
no.
back to the boarding school.
She called the boarding school
Yeah.
and immediately re-enrolled him.
Please take him back.
She immediately left the room after I explained the situation. I could hear her arguing with him, saying it was a deal breaker and that she wouldn't have it. He called me soon after she hung up and sounded so very angry. He said it was clear I had made up my mind and didn't want to be part of the family.
What did he think was gonna happen when she found out?
I like that he just wasn't going to tell her.
And also, what a freaking hypocrite. Oh, it's clear that you don't want to be part of the family that I actively kicked you out of and, neglected you for years and years.
By the way, we'll never kick you out of the family as long as you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcast, search OK Storytime. There's a little bit more. But you're going back to school!
Woo, you're going back to school. You used your mother's wickedness, your stepmother's wickedness to work for your benefit.
And honestly, good. He said that he had wanted time to let my stepmother know and wished I had trusted him. I didn't even know how to start explaining why I feel his view of my feelings is so wrong before he told me that since I didn't even want to try working with him, he's sending me back. He ended the call saying, I hope you can deal with the consequences of your choices. I'm angry at him because I feel like so much of this is miscommunication on his part, but I'm happy more than anything because I get to go back. Thank God. I'm going to lay low, be as nice to everyone as possible, and try to ride this out until school starts, which is soon. I'm so relieved. We have a couple final comments. Update 3 is effing glorious.
Yes.
He throws you away like garbage, tries to tear you away from your friends you made as a coping mechanism after his abandonment. Then, when you suggest a reasonable compromise to meet his need for affection without hurting you, he tells you that your feelings don't matter, and he has the gall to act like you should have kept his secret from his wife? Out of what loyalty? Why would he think you have any reason to help him destroy everything happy in your life? What a self-absorbed effing moron. I hope you email him this comment of mine and some choice others from this thread. Don't actually. That a-hole needs a slap in the face with some perspective. I'm a grown but adult, and I don't see how on earth you'd thank him later for what he tried to do. And that's the end of that.
I agree. Great comments.
Great comment.
Yeah, I
great.
mean, it's just so funny. So funny
my
that
God.
he's like so... I think that he feels guilt. Or I don't even know if he
I'm-
feels guilt, but I think he knows that he's caused this.
Maybe some guilt, but
Yeah.
not in a way of like actually feeling
Yes.
bad about
yeah,
it.
No, he's just like, oh, like, I created this relationship dynamic and now maybe people are calling him out for it, or he's
Yeah.
realizing that this doesn't look that good.
It's still all for appearance.
Yeah. But have fun at boarding school, OP.
I took in my orphaned friend, but she ended up ghosting me. At the time, I, 25 female, had a friend from high school, 23 female, who had neither parent in her life. She had moved away from my hometown for her senior year of high school, and I had always been the one to travel to visit her for graduation, vacations, and just to spend time with her since I was the one who had a car. My life has always been hectic, and I don't have a ton of money, but I always make the effort to stay in touch with my good friends. By the way, comes from user Methuselah87. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says her mother moved her all over the place because she could never hold down a job. She was also an emotionally manipulative and harmful parent who controlled her daughter with fear. She leapt from man to man trying to find someone to support her financially, never actually getting to know her daughter or care about her needs, only caring for her and keeping her modestly happy because she thought it was her job, which it is. My friend's biological father abandoned them immediately, so she never really knew him, and her mother only dated for money. After briefly remarrying and then divorcing my friend's stepfather, the mother moved the two of them to a house in the middle of nowhere and began to date a richer, older man. My friend would visit her stepfather because they had a good relationship, but ultimately found out that he was crap talking her to her mother, and it ended their relationship. That is the weirdest thing I've ever read. After that, my friend lived alone with her mother and dated some a-hole who was just using her for the spicy sleep. After she finally broke up with him, She asked me point blank if she could run away from her mother and live with me. I was a junior in college at the time, living away from home, so I begged my parents and older sister to agree. They're not the greatest people on earth, but they're deeply caring and they knew her well, so eventually they agreed. I separated out my things to make space for her, went out to where she was living as a visit, and we packed up her car and left. Her mother had put the car title in her name as a show of trust after a lifetime of distrust of her daughter, likely for harmful reasons. So nothing was stolen, but of course, we didn't tell her mother, and we left while she was out with her boyfriend. My friend moved into my room with me and spent about a year working locally, trying to date around while I was home for the summer with her or at college during the year. When I was there, she was happy, but when I wasn't there, she rarely called or texted me and spent all of her time with boys. I asked her a couple times why she didn't call, and she said that I was ignoring her and not making any effort, which wasn't true. I cared about her deeply and always tried to keep in touch. Eventually, I had to give up trying to fix things with her, though, because she wasn't trying at all, and I lived a few hours away and was busy with school. Yeah, I think you should just, reiterate if she would do that. Just be like, yeah, so I literally, moved you out of your house into my own home with my family. So stop telling me I don't care about you.
Right.
Because that's crazy.
And talk to me when I'm at school still.
Yeah, I would be straight up, I'm not hearing that. Don't even say it to me. I'm not hearing it. I tend to befriend people with problems, but never really thought about them that way, as I'm a kind and compassionate person who doesn't mind going the extra mile. I wanted her to have the stable family life I got to grow up in. My parents are conservatives, and we are not, my sister included, but they were excellent with personal responsibility and the self-discipline a person needs to become an adult. Plus, they liked her, and she liked them. My friend's mother would call her and text her angrily about the move, and accused her of being a sapphic because she decided to move in with me. We both thought that was stupid and laughed about it. When it came time for my junior year of college to end, I was given the huge opportunity to study one of my language majors overseas. It was in a country my parents knew nothing about, and my family was not very supportive, but I knew I'd never be able to afford to travel unless I did it through school. So I accepted. I would leave in August, and it was May. That summer, I broke up with some guy I was dating, and it was very difficult for me. So I had her support and the support of my friends from college to get through it. I needed to work before I left to raise some money for the trip, so I took a job by the school and lived rent-free with a friend for a while. I made very little money, and I was very depressed at the time. So my friend thought that she would come and keep me company by visiting. Well, she got wasted and started hitting on me.
That's not where I thought that was going.
I am not into girls. She knew that, so I was really annoyed, and I tried to put her to bed like a child, but my girlfriend that I was living with was like, sure, I'll have spicy sleep with you.
She said, OP, you might not be interested, but I am.
I lost it.
Why?
Not only was this in a small trailer and I would have to hear the whole thing, but my wasted friend had apparently brought a bunch of spicy sleep toys in the back of her car, so she brought one out to make fun of me with it.
Or to use it with your roommate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't want to use this? Haha.
I scolded her and the friend that I was living with for being like that and said, do whatever you want. And then I just went to bed in the other room. They were both adults at the time, so I figured that they could do whatever they wanted. But honestly, it annoyed me to be not only in the middle of it, but to be hit on like that. My girlfriend was a big bi, and obviously I didn't care, but I felt it was disrespectful to try and have spicy sleep with a stranger she just met with me in the home.
What is a big boy?
I don't know.
I'm big into both.
So after that, things were never the same between me and my friend. I moved back home briefly before I moved overseas, and my friend ignored me and was always out with her current boyfriend. She tried to act nonchalant when I was around, but I could tell that she had already checked out of our relationship completely. Waited until I was gone, and then my family told me that she moved in with her boyfriend and stopped contacting them altogether. Left all her things, almost never visited or texted or called them or me, and even though she had a key, never came by to pick her things up. Dude, they'd be on the curb. If it was me, honestly, bring you into my home. You don't even have the decency or the respect to talk to me or say goodbye or say thank you. You leave all your crap here like I'm a storage container. It's all on the sidewalk. I was concerned that maybe she was being held somewhere against her will, so I went out of my way to contact her to make sure she was okay. Her a-hole boyfriend was the only one I could get in touch with, and he said, she's fine as far as I know, and was super vague about letting me speak to her, which is a stupid move when someone lives in your house with you. How could you not know, and why can't I talk to her? Turns out that she had changed her online name to hide from her mother and had blocked me from her account. I made a new account as a throwaway to ask her why and what she was doing and if she was okay, and she didn't respond to me. I left it there for a while. I was worried, but I was also angry at her. and didn't know what I could do from overseas. When I finally came home, my family let me know that it had been months since my friend contacted them, meaning that she'd missed every holiday and birthday since she'd moved out and had only vaguely texted, "I hope you're all doing okay," but otherwise gone radio silent. Still lived in town, so I thought this was insane. Who abandons their stuff and their foster family without a word of explanation? She had been living rent-free, fully provided for with my family and never paid for anything, which made me even angrier. How ungrateful for her to just up and vanish without even saying goodbye. Finally got back in touch with me when she noticed that I was home and agreed to meet, but she brought her wealthy a-hole boyfriend with her when I specifically asked if we could talk alone to discuss what had happened, and she refused to say anything specific in front of him and acted flippant and dismissive of our concerns. All she would talk about was how much weight she had lost with him as her personal trainer, and she was wearing a crop top to show off her smaller waist. I expressed my concerns, and she just brushed me off.
Ah! Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that she wasn't going to reach out to anyone when she moved out. That's kind of her MO.
Unknowingly created a monster because you helped her ghost her mom.
Maybe she actually just is a ghost. Maybe I called it, guys.
She's actually, her name's Casper, and she's a
She's
ghost.
Not very
But
friendly,
she's
though.
not friendly, which is crazy.
And she's big bye.
Big bye.
Said big bye, 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 bye.
They left eventually after us learning nothing and basically stopped talking to everyone, me included, and I tried several more times to talk to her before I lost it. I texted her and said that if she was going to act like we were nothing to her and that we didn't matter at all in her life, that she was never to contact me or my family again because she was banished from the family. I wasn't about to let her string us along for whatever dumb butt ride she was trying to take us on. I threw her crap in a box and said, "Come get it or it's trash." She did eventually pick it up. We never spoke again. And by the way, we can speak all the time, and you can listen to it in the full episodes with stories like this one on Spotify, iHeart, and Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 70 days worth of stories. Honestly, I have nothing to add because you've cut off your friend exactly the way I would have done it.
You did the right thing at this point.
Put that crap in a box, say, "Get it or it's trash." And she crawled over like the little cretin she is behaving like. For context, during the time I was gone overseas, she picked up smoking, slept with a married man, refused to get car insurance,
Wow.
and overall just neglected all of her relationships except the ones with men.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So, I have to assume that she may have in some way been in love with me or otherwise wanted me to give up my future to spend my life with her. I'm not sure why or if she ever planned on communicating her needs to me, but I fully had no idea and would never have given that impression if I knew how she felt. It's been a long time, and although I'm well-traveled and graduated college, I live with my family again since I had some financial difficulties, and dating is difficult for me after having been mistreated so many times. I try not to dwell on this fallout with my friends since I couldn't make things work out with her, but I always had this terrible lingering guilt for giving up on someone who was essentially an orphan. I worry about her to this day and hope that she didn't hop from one harmful relationship to another thanks to her upbringing. I know I can't control her, and I never intended to. I was just concerned for her well-being and don't know if anything I could have done would have saved the situation. And that is the end of that story.
Did what you could and cut it off when you had to. My in-laws are being shady with the house they're renting us.
Maybe it's time to come into the light. Huh?
So back in October of last year, we started renting a mobile home from my husband's grandmother, and her son uncle-in-law manages the property because she lives far away and is old. Around late January, we were told rent would increase by $400 due to Gmail not being able to get a renter in her other property. And my husband said he couldn't. They agreed to split it, and he had to pay $200 on top of the agreed amount. Our lease says nothing about length of time, so it's not illegal, just unfortunate. By the way, this comes from Decent Sky, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. After that, we decided we wanted to see about buying our own house since we have kids and we want something permanent. Shortly after this, we were told that there was a person coming by to take pictures, but that they were for a dealer who buys property. Suddenly, I found full pictures of our house with all our belongings on Homes, Realtor, Zillow, etc. I called her after this and stated I didn't feel comfortable and that the pictures being put online were not part of what we were told. She said it was implied when she stated she was listing it. I voiced my concerns and cleared up the misunderstanding that just because we're looking at houses, we aren't approved by a lender yet, and it will take time. She stated to husband and I separately in 2 different phone calls that she would take it off the market to make it easier, since it wasn't supposed to be listed online anyway. Something to do with it being on mobile home park land and not its own land. 2 weeks later, the day after both my husband and I just got out of the hospital with neurovirus, we were given 4-hour notice that there would be a showing. I tried to say no, but apparently there was absolutely no way to cancel, and uncle-in-law was just doing his job. So I scrubbed the whole house so no one would get sick, as I had a fever and we have a 1-year-old. Not sure where to put this in the timeline, but the day before, which is the day that I got home from the hospital, as well as our daughter's first birthday, Gmail complained about us getting a hamster, stated the lease said no pets, and was generally upset. Husband took a picture of the text where her and I spoke about getting something other than a fish because the kids were asking for such, and she said her issue was with cats and dogs, and said what the kids want is fine as long as it didn't cause damage. Husband pointed out that they had also agreed on $200 less than the rent he was paying currently. She backed down after that and lowered the rent back down, but never asked about the hamster after that. After 1 showing, we were irked, but didn't say anything. A week after that, showing 2 was scheduled with 7-hour notice. I texted Gmail and asked why she told us she was taking it off the market if she didn't intend to, as well as stating that the lack of communication was not okay. She started off with, "Excuse me, but I have a sister in the hospital in a life-threatening situation. Not to take away from it, but her sister and her aren't close, and the situation was a leg amputation caused by refusing to monitor diabetes, which is awful, but not an excuse to lie. I said I was sorry about her sister, but that this is an issue that needs to be addressed, and that lying and giving us extremely short notice wasn't acceptable. I'm assuming she called uncle-in-law after this because she didn't respond, but he called my husband stating that her sister was sick and that we needed to talk to him going forward. Shortly after, the showing was canceled. The very next day, 2 days ago, as of me writing this, we got a letter stating there was a buyer and that we had until May 14th to be out, as well as a list of all that needed to be done before moving out: cleaning, patching holes left by shelves, etc. Apparently, even though there is a buyer, they're showing it again tomorrow. Thankfully, we were given significantly more notice this time. I tried all day today to figure out what was going on, but uncle-in-law kept stating it wasn't our business to know what was going on with the trailer when we weren't asking for that. I stated why they were lying and going behind our backs, and he kept saying the same exact thing. I didn't lie to you. I don't know what my mother said, so I can't answer. I'm not giving you buyer information, which again was never remotely asked for. My husband asked why there was another showing if it was under contract, which is pretty simple to answer because it's mainly, we want a backup if the first buyer falls through. He stated he wanted to call, which I rejected because I wanted everything to be clear and easily available to refer back to. This is the abbreviated version of after that. Uncle-in-law says, I'm only answering questions. There's nothing to refer back to. Me, I have already been lied to over the phone and would like everything in writing. Uncle-in-law, well, I'm not texting anymore. Me, okay, that's fine. You're not going to be open with me, so there's no point in asking anymore. I'll stop asking. Uncle-in-law, I am open. Stop hiding behind your walls and phone and talk to me face to face. Direct quote.
Stop hiding behind those walls that you live in that I'm trying to sell out from under you.
Me, I have a baby. I'm not going over there to argue and bicker. I will stop the conversation since it's going nowhere. I texted uncle-in-law's wife and asked her if she knew why they were acting like this. She had no idea, and she had been really busy with work and appointments. I apologized for being out of the blue, and I said I was sorry for not talking to her more recently, but that I was really upset at their grandmother-in-law's and uncle-in-law's BS. I sent the screenshot of the above conversation minus my last reply because I hadn't made it yet and said, this crap is scary. Uncle-in-law wrote a long paragraph 3 hours later about how T, his wife mentioned above, wasn't involved and doesn't know anything about the house. Never asked her about it, which I agree, like, don't bring T into it.
This is not about the house. This is like, why are these people doing this to us? Why is the uncle-in-law and Gmail doing this to us? That's all OP wants to know.
How he's not obligated to share business about the house and listed a bunch of questions that were never even hinted at, like the price of the house and moving it. He stated he's not sure how he's scary and going forward that I can no longer talk to T. My response was short and included, I can talk to anyone I please. These questions were never asked, and you know that. And that if he no longer wishes to text, he can email us, and provided the emails of me and my husband. Husband is just as confused as I am and thinks it's retaliation for us saying we were looking for a house after rent was raised. This isn't normal behavior from them, but we have never been in a business relationship with either of them. The only complaint made to us about anything was the hamster, which she stated that it was okay and said, I guess the kids would like something they could pet, and go with what the kids would like. This was in text. No complaints made about the cleanliness either. Actually, the opposite. Husband has paid rent on time and the full amount that was asked, even after it was raised. We have 3 kids, so yeah, it gets messy and loud, but no damage other than some drywall holes in one bathroom and the laundry room where a shelf fell. I'm bad at putting them up. So about a $10 patch and paint to fix, which we already stated we'd do, and there was still nothing said about it being an issue. We're both just extremely confused. They won't say anything about it no matter what. Uncle-in-law stated no one is acting any certain way. I'm at a loss. Husband and I don't care much about the house, as we already planned on moving early with everything else they had done up to this point, but the lying, hiding, and denial is upsetting to say the least. Am I in the wrong here? Is this all normal and I'm just sensitive to it? I've dealt with landlords, but not for a single rental house like this where it could be sold. I asked for communication and am left with significantly more questions than answers. I don't want to call because it's easier to manipulate and cut people off, especially when tension is high, so I know it wouldn't be a good idea. I cry super easily, so talking face to face also isn't ideal, and I took his statement as highly aggressive and I don't tolerate it well at all. This is back to my thing though. I also cry very easily in conversations that are tense like that, but sometimes you have to just have that conversation in person because one, it might not be as tense as you think because tone can be taken wrong in text. You'll get all your answers, questions a little, you're gonna cry. It's gonna really suck, but it's a conversation that you have to have. And it's gonna really suck, but record it if you want to be able to play back to it. Go in with a list if you like get really overwhelmed with that. Like sometimes I'll write things down that I need to say, but I think clearly communication via text is not working for you and you refuse to call.
Well, no, it's
you gotta
not that
pick
the
one of
text
them.
I think this is the thing.
Because he's like
'Cause I agree
call
with
and
you.
she's like text. Just go.
Just because you're gonna cry and like it's gonna be hard and you don't like confrontation doesn't mean you shouldn't do confrontation.
Yeah. It just
But I
means
think
it's hard.
in this situation, if you know the people that you need to sort of win against are going to straight up hang 50 on you and slam dunk all over you the whole conversation, maybe you should just formulate a text.
I want to communicate and I don't think asking for it in writing is so difficult. Am I overthinking this? And we have an update. Uncle-in-law was showing the house today, and by showing, he apparently meant coming in with tea and taking pictures. I'm not sure who to trust, and I'm trying to figure out how to deny entry until the move-out date. By the way, we'll never deny you entry into a full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. We have another update. I have them on my
Grandma-in-law.
security camera with no other people showing, complaining about our LED strip lights, renter friendly, and uncle-in-law was taking pictures all over, like inside the oven, laundry room, etc. My husband called it out and got no response, so we both agree he knows he's in the wrong. Even worse is the fact that there was nothing to lie about. He's allowed to ask for an inspection and take pictures for record keeping, and yet decided to lie. We're trying to get out ASAP. Thank you guys for reassuring me that this isn't something normal and isn't okay. That's the end of that story.
Yeah, I love how it wasn't even like a should I move? It's like the whole time they were planning on moving. They're just like, is this normal?
The whole time they were planning on moving and they were like, I'm just mad that I'm not getting answers. Okay, move.
Is the way my grandma-in-law and uncle-in-law are moving normal?
Yes,
Meanwhile,
they suck. Just move.
They're literally moving around like a interpretive art piece. That is abnormal. Abnormal movement. Wow.
That's the end.
My family wanted me to do them favors after rejecting mine.
It's just a simple favor.
And there's a trigger warning for verbal abuse. I, 27 female, moved out over 3 years ago, but have 3 younger siblings still at home. 23 female, 21 male, and 13 female. I live about 30 to 40 minutes away. My mom and stepdad are going on a trip in early October. They told me about this almost a year ago and want me to stay overnight at the house for a couple of days, so my youngest sister has a ride to and from school. By the way, this comes from user No Surprise 3534, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, I didn't want to, but I agreed because it's easier to say yes. I'm tired of my mom expecting me to uproot my life. I work full-time as a teacher and I'm in grad school. When there are 2 other grown adults in the house, she doesn't ask for help. She does this every time they go out of town, which is a couple times a year. My 23-year-old sister can't drive, but she helps in other ways like cooking and caring for my grandma who lives there. My brother, however, is never required to do anything when they're gone. He also invites his girlfriend over every time, which my parents know about. Last time I did this favor, I got up early to take my sister to school and found both my brother and his girlfriend's cars parked outside, which frustrated me daily. Now my mom is asking me to come back again at the end of October to stay overnight and do school runs. I told her I couldn't stay overnight because my boyfriend, 31 male, is going out of town and I need to be home with our dog. She said I could bring the dog over to the house if needed. I found this funny because a few months ago when I needed to leave my dog there for just the day, she said he was fine for the day, but she couldn't have him overnight because of their other animals. But now it's okay when it's convenient for her. I'm not staying overnight when I've been told my dog can't be there before, but now it suddenly works when she needs something. And I'm tired of no responsibility being placed on my brother who lives there and can drive and could help. At some point, I want it to feel like not all of the responsibility falls on me as the oldest sibling. And there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, not the a-hole. I have pushy people in my family who would not take no for an answer and would push. It was hard to not back down until I realized that my life and my time are worth as much as theirs. And just because I'm in the younger generation, I'm an adult and I don't have to do what I'm told. I would encourage you to start saying no. Also tell her you've thought about it and you can't help out for this trip or in October. And get some phrases that you practice and have at the ready for when she pushes. Also, stop telling her why or she's going to try to problem solve. Example, no, sorry, that doesn't work for me. Why? I can't do it, Mom. Ask brother and sister. But I gotta go. Talk to you later. Comment 2, asking for info. Have you asked why your brother can't do the school runs? OP says there is no valid reason. He generally is pretty unhelpful and says no to most favors simply because he can't be bothered, and she just wants to avoid an argument with him, I assume. Comment 3, you would not be the a-hole here, OP. Tell your mom no and you mean it. Explain that you are not the only person who has to drop their life just because they decide to go out of town or do something. And explain that your brother is fully capable of doing the same thing. OP replies, definitely. I was beyond infuriated last time I was there, and I was getting up early to take my sister to school and myself to work, and him and his girlfriend's cars were outside. Like, why am I here? Why am I not in my own home right now? Call me if you need me for an emergency. And there is an update. I agree with everything that was said.
Yeah. Great comments.
Just straight up be like, no.
Yeah, and I do agree, like, if you keep giving her the reason, she's going to try to keep problem solving it. So the fully just like, no, like, I can't right now. Sorry. That's it.
Update. My mother asked me to stay overnight on 3 separate occasions in a 2-month span. The October trip she mentioned a year ago, and then last week she asked for late October, and last night she asked for the end of this month. My annoyance stems from the fact that my brother lives there with a job and a car and is perfectly capable, yet I'm the one being displaced to help when I don't even live there anymore. He's an adult at 21, almost 22. I really thought about what to say because she's extremely verbally harmful. My boyfriend helped me write it out. I called her and said, I'd like to talk about something I've been thinking about. I love you guys and I'm always here to help, but I feel like there are people in the house who could be helping more. Their lack of help is transferring responsibility onto me when I don't feel it always should be. I know it's not easy to talk to him, but it isn't fair that I'm always asked when I live 30 minutes away and he lives with you. I'm not saying I never want to help, but at some point you should be asking him too. I followed up by saying I shouldn't feel nervous to talk to you about these things at my age, so I want us to have better dialogue. She gave excuses about why she wouldn't ask my brother. His work schedule is crazy, he has car issues sometimes, blah, blah, blah. These weren't valid to me, especially since when I was his age, she'd make me take off work to manage all the kids when they traveled. The car excuse was BS too, since he drives up to 3 hours away for work monthly. I didn't say any of this though. Then she began to utterly berate me like usual. She shut me down, called me condescending, called me an a-hole and a witch. She said she learned a lot about me and thinks of me differently now and not in a good way. and that I don't get to lecture her or check her on anything, and the way I was coming at her was aggressive. And then you go,
Boo.
and you go,
Boo.
you take the phone and you just put it down.
Well, you hang up first.
No, don't even hang up first. Just let her blah, 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 blah,
Oh,
blah,
you're
blah,
saying
blah,
so she's
into the air. Just let her go into thin air. She went on about how because she's helped me with things, family should help family. She also said, I can tell you really thought about what you're going to say, which is sad because I don't think you realize how downright disgusting you sound. Talking about I haven't had the strength to bring this up, essentially mocking my feelings. My boyfriend listened to the whole thing and was fuming at how she spoke to me. He muted the phone and said, you don't have to take this, end the call. I ended by saying, I thought we could have an adult conversation where we talk to each other, not you talking at me. And she goes, you thought wrong. After we hung up, she texted, reiterating herself, you're incredibly selfish, you're self-absorbed, you're condescending, you have no basic decency. I learned a lot about you today. Thank you for my lesson. It all felt so out of left field.
Block.
And you just go, you know what? Since you learned so much about me, I guess you learned you don't want someone like me watching the house. So good luck.
Yep.
My boyfriend was speechless after the call ended and said he looks at her differently now. I've told him before that's how she is. I've been verbally mistreated by her for years, but he'd never actually heard it. He says he wants to step in and talk to her himself because he doesn't believe it'll get better without someone else intervening, whether it's him or sitting down with a family therapist. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for not wanting to spend the night? Because, of course, she told me I am, or am I just letting the verbal abuse get to me? And there are comments, but before we get into those,
I think we know you're not.
let's just all be
Don't
on the
spend
same
night.
page.
Yeah.
You're not the a-hole.
You're not at all. And this is just a tactic that I'm sure she's used before because you seem like you know it, just to get you to cave to what she wants.
Yeah, you were anticipating it.
Yeah.
You knew what was on the way.
Yeah.
All right, we got some comments. Number one, she darvoed you. It's the classic abuser response. It stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. She denied it was ridiculous to put the burden on you instead of your brother. Then she insulted you and made herself the victim of your wanting to talk. I have a mother like this too. Am also a psychologist. There is no getting through to her. Nothing that your boyfriend can say. She always needs to be the victim or the bully, and she expects you to rescue her and tend to her feelings without acknowledging any of yours. The only thing to do is drop the rope. Stop rescuing her. Stop talking to her when she insults you. I give my mom one warning when she insults me, and she either apologizes or I hang up and we don't talk that week. If she does it again, it increases the time between phone calls unless and until she offers a sincere and heartfelt apology. Looks ruthless from the outside unless you know what she's like. Good luck. OP says, wow, I've never actually heard of Darvo, but it sounds very much like her. I told him I don't think anything he can say would help the situation, my boyfriend, and that he will end up getting the same tongue lashing that I did, but he doesn't care. He seems pretty serious about wanting to do it and doesn't care if she gets nasty with him and looks at him differently. He then went on to say that he now sees how hard it is for me anytime he has been over there, and I see how kind she is to him, knowing that she is how she treats me when she thinks she doesn't have an audience. And he lost a lot of respect for her. He'd lose all respect for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I don't think it's worth his time. I do feel like he will be beating a passed away horse if he does, but I couldn't talk him out of it. I appreciate your insight. By the way, you can get all kinds of insight listening to full episodes of stories like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime. You can listen to the full archive of stories. And there is not a lot of update left. There's a little update here. But I think I wish I could hear exactly what boyfriend has to say.
I know. I want him. Let's get him. Have him write an update.
Yeah, please. Let's get that. Update number 2. I just wanted to update by sharing that my mother called twice last night and I did not respond.
Yes.
Yes.
Good job.
I was not sure what she wanted, whether it was to apologize or continue to berate me, but regardless, I did not respond. However, I did receive a text today from my stepdad saying, we canceled our trip for her birthday next weekend, so don't worry about that, but we do need you to fulfill your commitment in October. We cannot get out of those. They are work trips that require our attendance. Thank you.
You say, nope, you can hire someone.
Bro, you're the
You
dumbest
can hire someone
ever.
because they have those actually, and you actually have still a son that lives in that house.
I'd be like, why are you messaging me when A, scheduled Ubers exist, B, your adult children that live in your house that could take your child who's 13 to school exist?
C,
B,
it's also
C.
been no time and mom has not apologized to me
Yeah.
and I don't want to talk to her.
At D, I'm not doing that. So again, I'm wondering if I'm in the wrong since they claim they canceled the trip, or if that was manipulation.
That's manipulation.
You got it. That was manipulation.
You got
They did
it,
that on
though.
purpose.
They did that so they can be the victims still.
There were so many different ways they could have handled that other than canceling the trip.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think canceling the trip is overkill. Yeah, it was. That's the end of that story.
Yeah, it was unneeded. It is fully to make them the victims. I wouldn't even believe that
Yep.
they canceled it for sure.
Well, we canceled our trip all because of you. It's all your fault that we canceled our trip. I'd be like, shut
Like,
up,
that's hilarious. But no,
Dude.
it's not true.
Our family vacation was too stressful. It ruined our marriage.
That's the opposite of how those are supposed to work.
Our son is college aged, and he backed out of this trip at the last second. I should have done the same. He went on vacation with them last year and had a bad time, but my wife played up to the fact that she gets so few vacation days and wanted to spend quality time with me alone. So I went. By the way, this comes from user Apprehensive Breakup. So, I'm Keon,
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Sophia.
and OP says, it's a long drive. We get there. It's already tense because it's a very full house with my wife's large family. I like my wife's family. Her brothers are funny and smart. Her sisters are nice individually, though together it becomes something else. My wife is especially close with her older sister, who lives a block away from us and has a baby with her husband. I used to like the sister a lot, but over the past few years, she's meddled more and been a negative influence. My wife doesn't see it, but even my son has noted that the sister, or again in this case, his aunt, has been meddling and negative toward me. I think she's taking cues from my wife's disapproval concerning my career choices and salary. When we arrive, I ask if there's a quiet corner to us since I have to teach online. This is immediately met with consternation, especially from my wife's very corporate HR brother-in-law, who rolls his eyes towards his wife. I don't know if my wife saw this because the moment we arrived, she made a beeline to her sister and baby, spending the entire day with them. The baby is very cute, and my wife loves being an aunt. So, I had to teach and do grading, which I managed in the basement thanks to my wife's brother, who set up space for me downstairs. At night, I hung out with the brothers and their girlfriends, which was fun. My wife eventually comes to bed at 3 a.m. and just knocks out. The rental is a beautiful house with stunning views, but it's remote and the town isn't walkable. My wife's brother-in-law keeps parking his way too big SUV at the bottom of the driveway, so guess what? No one can get out without him making a big deal of moving his big butt SUV, then parking it right back in the same position. When I first met him, I liked the brother-in-law. He comes across as a nice, good-looking, well-dressed guy from a well-to-do family who makes a very good wage. I was really happy when he married my wife's sister and thought he would become a good friend over time. Efforts to get to know him have stalled, and this week he came across as a self-absorbed, condescending, and shallow guy. I tried making conversation several times, but he just seemed uninterested, responding with one-word mumbles before walking away to go back to preening in the middle of the living room with the sisters. As new parents, they're naturally the center of the world. He just seemed really cold to me and went out of his way to take up space. If you wanted to pour coffee, you'd have to maneuver around his multi-step protein shake making process. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, projecting because they don't like me, and they don't like me because my wife doesn't like me. The days went on like that. Buddy.
That sounds like the worst vacation I've ever heard in my life.
Vacations are supposed to be stress-free, not stressful.
God.
At no point did I spend any time with my wife, not even at dinner, where she sat next to the baby, the brother-in-law, and the sister. I suggested activities like kayaking and going on walks, which she ignored. I sat on the couch next to her, and she gave me the cold shoulder. She wouldn't take her headphones off when I tried to talk to her. Fine, it's her vacation. Nobody. It's also yours. I felt duped for coming, but she should be allowed to have a good time. I kept myself busy with just grading assignments. That night, my wife's brothers and I were watching TV in the basement while my wife and the sisters and brother-in-law were all upstairs. Got talking to one of the brothers' girlfriends who's very astute. She picks up on the tension. This is her first time meeting everyone and artfully points out that the sisters and brother-in-law come across as cold and self-absorbed. I mentioned that new parents are often in their own world, but she says sure, she has a big family and has been around babies, but they almost go out of their way to be closed off and cliquish, and she was worried they didn't like her. I assured her that wasn't the case. We continue talking, and somehow the topic of my wife calling the shots comes up. Kind of an ongoing joke among the brothers. I joke that I suffer from analysis paralysis, so my wife making decisions for us is really helpful. The girlfriend jokes, yeah, she definitely has a tyrannical streak. Oh my gosh. The brothers laugh. I was struck by this because it's kind of true. Wife eventually comes to bed after I've fallen asleep several hours later. We're on to the last day. Before we get to the last day, this isn't fun.
Yeah, this isn't just like, oh, well, I should let my wife have a fun time. This is like you're actively being bullied by your own spouse. You're like just in the way that it's like, I feel like the moment I talk to someone and they like intentionally ignore everything that I've said, like not because it's like, oh wait, I just didn't hear you. I wanted to check. I was trying, but I like as soon as it's like just a cold stare and then like back to what they were doing, it's like, oh okay, I'm done talking to you for at least a week.
This also seems like a family vacation, sure, but not for you. It seems like her family's vacation. And she's spending time with her family. But guess what? You're also part of her family, and she's not spending a single second with you. Let's get to the last day. The next morning, the brothers leave right after breakfast. My wife and I had agreed to leave on Friday, as I had to get back. I start packing up, and my wife freaks out. She's decided we should stay another day. I explain I can't, but I can leave later in the day, as I told her parents I would go for a bike ride with them. She gets really angry and calls me selfish, tells me she has so few vacation days and she should get to stay or get to say when we go back. At that point, I say she could take the car if she'll drive me to a train station later, or she can go home with her parents or sister.
Bro, homie's even just offering up the car immediately. I'll take the train. You can stay as long as you want. I'll take a train.
No, you're being selfish.
Selfish. Immediately giving up the car.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She tries to keep the argument going, but I walk away and ignore her. This pisses her off. She starts following me around the house, yelling at me, calling me selfish, telling me it's her vacation and she makes more money than I do.
There it is. She doesn't respect you as a teacher because you don't make enough money.
She also just doesn't respect you at all. And that she'll never have spicy sleep with me again. At this point, I feel like I'm starting to have a panic attack. I wanted to leave on the spot. Her sister and brother-in-law then comfort and console her,
What a bunch of goofballs.
offering to take her back Sunday. So, the yelling is over and she goes back to ignoring me and hanging out with them. But I'm still very anxious and feel humiliated. Then the brother-in-law drove her to the beach in his giant SUV. I calm down and go on a really nice bike ride with her parents, which actually was great and calmed me down. I get back and I say my goodbyes. The parents hug me goodbye, but my wife and her sister and brother-in-law are doing their own thing and ignore me. So, I just left. I got stuck in traffic on the way back and had a lot of time to think. I ruminated over the argument, which was very one-sided. Basically, me just getting yelled at in front of everyone. I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want to feel bad for being a teacher. Our son is in college, and I don't need this. As I thought about it, I got anxious all over again. It was a miserable drive. This felt like a tipping point. No marriage is perfect, and we've had our issues in the past, but this trip solidified that we're headed toward different futures. I don't want to be treated like a chauffeur, or, again, like I said, a doormat. I went on this trip even though it didn't fit my work schedule, because she implored me to go and claimed she wanted to spend quality time together, which you guys got nada. I now realize I was just a convenient driver, and when I tried to stick to my own schedule, the hammer came down. I love my wife, and I'm still in love with her. I have zero interest in dating anyone else or getting divorced.
Are you sure, my guy? It sounds like you're getting anxious over the knowledge that you need a divorce.
She seems like she doesn't even like you, my guy.
I feel like you've just been conditioned to think you don't want to get a divorce because you're like, it'll be so scary if I do. Just do it. Bottom line is, like, no one deserves to be treated or spoken to this way by their partner. It's over.
I would have called her out on the first night. I'm like, I thought we were supposed to hang out with each other and like enjoy our quality time. You just want the baby.
And she'll be like, I can't believe you're jealous of an actual baby. You're my husband and I just want to spend time with a baby.
No more family vacations. Back to the story. But I don't like who she is around these people, and I don't want to orient my life around them. I would never tell her not to spend time with her sister or brother-in-law. It's awesome she loves being an aunt. I'm considering moving out. Money is a factor, and I can't afford much right now. I'm researching rooms to rent in shared apartments about an hour away, which would be about what I could afford while also paying my half of our current place. I'm also considering filing a separation agreement. I don't think I want to get divorced, but I think some space could be healthy. Any advice, please?
Brother, divorce. This is not going to get better. I mean, it's just for me, if it did get better, I would just think about how as soon as we get around your family, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, before we jump to any of the separation or divorce or anything like that, have a full-on talk with her when she's back home. Be like, hey, so what the heck was all that? You know, I get it. You want to be an aunt, and I love that you're being an aunt and you want to do that, but what's going on? I feel the cold shoulder. You don't even want to talk to me. I would call her out. Comment number 1. It's absolutely disrespectful of her to yell at you in front of others. She should have kept your conversation private. It sounds like she doesn't respect you, period. It shouldn't matter who makes the most money in the relationship. Do you have a friend or family member that you can stay with for a week or two? Don't move out completely yet. This will give you more time to think. If she comes home to an empty house, maybe she will realize how she's taking you for granted. Let her know that some changes need to happen. You are considering getting your own place, but want to see if she's willing to work on things. Reply, it sounds like she doesn't even like him, like we said. Poor guy.
She doesn't like you, bro. Like, what are you doing?
And we have an update. Let's go straight into it. So, many of you are telling me to lawyer up immediately, pointing out my marriage is already over. That may be true, but I'm not ready for that reality yet. I need to talk with her and see if counseling is an option. I also feel like I have a lot to process. I need some space and therapy for sure, but I'm not ready to go full divorce. I also don't have any interest in soaking her financially. I don't care that she has more money than me. If anything, good. Let's just make this easy and clean. I've seen so many divorces where people are just out to punish each other. I don't want that. As for just leaving, I get it. But I don't want my son's last week at home before school to be a big fight. And I don't have a place to go other than a friend's for a night or two. It will take me time to find a room to rent within my budget while still paying my half for the rent. I also love my cat. Someone asked if she texted or called to see if I got home safe. She did not. Neither did her sisters, but her brothers did. I think the echo chamber between her and her sister about what a huge loser I am is probably deafening right now. So I don't expect a call or text from her. This came up a lot in the comments, but I don't think she's having an affair with her brother-in-law. I hope not. She's very close with her sister and wouldn't do that. As some have pointed out, I think she probably does want someone more like the brother-in-law. It's a hard pill to swallow because my values are completely different. But I think she would prefer any corporate suit over a teacher. Her family has a very different ethic about work and money than mine. I didn't quite realize that until the last few years. But I think they view teaching as underemployment and the man's role as making as much money as possible. In that regard, I have failed as a husband. No, you haven't. Don't say that. She's brought up the money thing. That she makes more than me, a lot over the last few years. Some people asked if she had mental health episodes in the past. Yes, but that was years ago. She did a lot of work and DBT, got to a much better place, and is obviously successful. Professionally. It stings, but as many of you have pointed out, she doesn't respect me. If she was just pissed at me or wanted different things in life, I think that can be navigated. I do think she loves me, or at least has love for me, but she doesn't respect me, and that sucks. She lied and manipulated me to drive her 5 hours, but didn't want anything to do with me once we arrived. It's one thing to get rejected, it's another to get used. This wasn't the first time she's manipulated me like that, but this one is a fresh wound. I spoke with my son without getting too much into details. He knew something was going to happen. He knew it was a bad idea to go. I told him he has better common sense than I do. One thing he mentioned is that she always behaves very differently around her family. And in the past, she has often been picked on by her siblings and parents. Oh, there's some context.
It's the meme of the girl where it's like someone's getting shouted at work, and then they go home, and then they shout at their wife, and then she shouts at the kid.
Yeah.
You're just you're just down the chain.
And Opie says, I guess by dunking on and humiliating me, she comes out on top this time. Yeah. I'm still pretty upset and anxious. I think my body knows something I'm not quite ready to admit yet. Here's my current agenda. I'm going to finish grading. I'm going to find a therapist. I will talk to her later this week. Well, after my son goes back to school. I don't know if counseling will happen or if she wants a romantic partnership any longer. I suspect she does not. And I need to find a cheap room for the semester. One red line I have, I need distance from that family, particularly her sister and brother-in-law. I think whatever's going on, it's become an echo chamber that I'm somehow a drain or holding her back. I need to create some kind of moat for myself. I live in hope. Maybe the marriage is not salvageable, but I'm open to being friends.
Boo.
Again, you're just a sweet soul. We had and raised an awesome son together. We still need to work together to get him through college. And we have a second update.
Apparently you don't. Apparently she makes so much more money than you that she can just treat you like an actual piece of trash.
I think you're a caring person, OP, but again, like I said earlier, at this point, do what's best for you and stop thinking about what's best for her.
Yeah.
Many commenters pointed out I was being too one-sided. You're right. If I'm honest, many of her complaints about me are legitimate. I'm messy, disorganized, and neurodivergent with severe anxiety stemming from a near-death illness years ago that left me with PTSD. This anxiety affects my decision-making, and I have significant student debt. As a teacher, I don't make much money. I'm not blameless here. I have issues and baggage. Many of you identified her baby fever, amplified by our son moving out for college. She loves being an aunt and resents me for us not having another child. We had multiple miscarriages years ago, and I wasn't emotionally supportive enough. She said in arguments that if I had been more financially responsible, we would have another child. That will always haunt me. The turning point was when I left my admin job during the pandemic to return to teaching, despite her telling me not to. She was furious and lost all respect for me. In her mind, I was on a path to real success, and I screwed it up. That respect never returned. After our initial blow-up, we had a productive conversation and made a plan. Therapy, counseling, mediation. Not ideal timing with the semester starting and our son leaving for college. But we had to address it. I want to emphasize, my wife isn't a villain. Stop that.
She isn't a villain until she's around her family. And then she treats you like a dog.
Yeah, she goes Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde on you. She's an amazing, successful woman and great mother who's simply fed up with me. There's no point being bitter. During our talk, I realized this outburst didn't come from nowhere. Years of frustrations had built up. Financial insecurity, stress from my careless decisions, not living up to her expectations.
Okay, but were they careless decisions, or were they maybe impacted by the pregnancies y'all lost and whatever y'all were going through together? Like maybe also how your wife was treating you throughout this time. Like,
OP,
you're a human being, and so is she. So it's like her saying all this to you applies to her as well.
Isn't that crazy how much you respect your wife as a person and as a partner? But she doesn't do that for you. She's a villain. I was ignorant to it all until it exploded. A month ago, I would have said I had the best marriage. Turns out I had a massive blind spot. I tried reaching out via text, but she'd blocked me. So I sent an email acknowledging my failures and asking for honest communication without being humiliated. This made her furious. She called me screaming, threatening to change the locks and prevent me from seeing our son. During the chaotic phone calls, she kept denying anything happened while simultaneously being enraged. When I pointed out the contradiction, she completely lost it. Then came the email that shattered everything. Here's her email. I'm upset because I've wasted my life being married to someone who is this much of an a-hole. It's because of you, I only had one child, could never afford to buy myself anything nice, and was worried about money constantly for 19 years. It makes me feel like I threw my effing life away. She's not taking any accountability. It's only on UOP. She's perfect. Come on now. This hurt deeply, but also felt liberating. It confirmed what I'd realized on vacation. She resents me for being financially unsuccessful. My response was measured but final. I acknowledged her disappointment, apologized for not meeting her financial expectations, but pointed out that money clearly mattered more to her than I'd realized. I told her she deserved someone aligned with her values because I never would be. She's trying to walk it back now. And I walk it back, but I'm not engaging. I'm glad she finally said what she really thought and put it in writing. I'm calling a lawyer in the morning. There's a little bit left, but
Brother, it's
19 years of this? She's resenting you? It took you 19 years to be like, I don't like you and you ruined my life.
It took it written out in an email. She could say it to your face all day long. But once she wrote it down in the email, you went, oh, well, noted. I'll be talking to the lawyer tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's time, bro. Your kid's in college. She's blaming you for not having more children, whether it's financially or, going through the lost pregnancies or whatever, which is like nobody's fault. But like, it's crazy to just put that on you. That's a crazy, painful thing to just like put on somebody.
So, on to the third update. After the exchange of nasty emails, text, and phone calls, she asked to talk again on the phone. She was calmer, listened, and apologized for her behavior. I made it clear I needed space, was going to look for a room, and agreed to counseling. But then this morning, I woke up to text saying that I had made it all up, and that she never said the things, and I hallucinated.
Yeah, you gotta walk away from this, brother. If you don't, I'm gonna be so mad.
She claims I was tired and misinterpreted, and she wants me to come home. I wrote back that this is a non-starter for me. I know what had happened and what I experienced, and she even put her feelings in writing. It's one thing if she admits it, takes accountability, and we agree to work together with a counselor toward whatever happens next year. But if she's going to pretend nothing happened, then nothing will change, and that means I have to get out for good. I'm reaching out to a family lawyer to set up a consultation this morning and staying with friends again tonight. And that is the end of that traumatic story. My goodness.
That's the end of that.
The fact that she called you all out, said all of this, and then you're like, okay, I'm bye. And then she's like, wait.
No, you hallucinated that email.
You did. No, that wasn't real.
I haven't had emails since Earthlink.
I'm out. That there's something I would be like, you need something. One of them is clearly not me. You need some help because that is insane.
I told my wife to choose our family first after she took away the kids.
Well, it feels like she chose that part of the family first.
My wife and I are in the middle of a really rough patch in our marriage. We separated for 6 months, and even when we ended the separation, the issues that caused it weren't fixed. Long story short, I lost my job when she was pregnant. She asked me to move out, and when I moved back in, I was sleeping in the basement for quite a while. She has refused any sort of physical contact, and we've just started marriage counseling. We had our second session last night. By the way, this comes from Throwaway No Respect Wife, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we try to give our best advice, but we haven't experienced most of these situations ourselves, so if you have, let us know your take in the comments. And OP says, in marriage counseling, I've come to learn that our family more or less hates me, or at the very least, they don't trust me. Like, not at all. During our session last night, our therapist said that it was important for us to start spending more time together, both as a family with our 2 kids and as a couple. My wife was resistant to the idea of date nights, so the counselor reframed it as exposure therapy.
I think it's time to call it, buddy. Your wife needs exposure therapy to
you? Basically, she said that neither of us will ever get past the barriers that have built up in our relationship if we continue to essentially live separate lives. My wife seems to understand that and was fairly receptive to the idea, at least while we were in the counselor's office. Which brings us to this weekend. In America, it's a holiday weekend, and our family has a long-standing tradition of spending the 3-day weekend at my in-laws' camp on a lake. My sister-in-law and her family come, and most of my wife's extended family pops in for at least an afternoon or evening or two, even if they don't spend the night. Some of her and my sister-in-law's friends from high school usually drop by for a catch-up too. I know my wife has been trying to reconnect with friends in an effort to find an identity outside of just being a mom and a wife. But given our current marital strife, the knowledge that my mother-in-law has actively and repeatedly tried to convince my wife that we should not be together, which I've only known about for barely a week, and my new and growing worry that my mistakes are now a black cloud hanging over my relationship with all my wife's family and friends, it seems to me like heading to camp should be a no-go. And in the fact that due to space constraints, we'd not only have to share a room, but also a bed, and it felt like too much. Okay, so OP's saying, because I was confused why it would be a problem for them to share a bed, but I guess because they're still having to do exposure therapy. It'd probably be too fast to have to share a bed.
OP is looking at the exact solution to their problem and being like, no, we can't do it.
There's only one bed? No.
You mean we'd be in a place for a whole weekend where we'd have to be exposed to each other and hang out and be in the same room?
I mean, that's
well,
literally...
what are we doing? We can't do that.
That's literally what your counselor told you to do.
Ugh.
My wife didn't agree. In fact, 15 minutes after we got home from our first marriage counseling session last night, she started packing up for the weekend. But she was only packing for her and the kids. She didn't come right out and say it, but it was pretty obvious, even to usually oblivious me, that the plan was for my family to go to the lake without me. This was less than an hour after we had been told we needed to spend more time together.
Did you not just say
you didn't
that
ask her?
You were not down? I'm sorry. Am I crazy?
I think he just didn't want them to go at all.
So, okay.
That was the solution. He's like,
so you were like, we're actually not going to do this. And she went, we are not going to do this because you don't want to.
He didn't actually ask her, though.
No?
He just assumed. He was like, it was pretty clear I wasn't going.
No,
they never
exactly.
had a
But I'm saying right before he comes back, he had already told her, we just read. Was that an inside thought?
It was an inside
when he was like,
yes.
Oh, like, we shouldn't do this. It's too soon.
Yeah, that was an inside thought.
That was an inside thought.
Mm-hmm. I tried pointing that out in a calm and as non-confrontational a way as I could, using the I feel statements our therapist suggested. I said to my wife, I feel like this weekend is a really good opportunity for us to spend time together as a family, and I really feel like if 3/4 of us go to camp, that isn't just living separate lives, but making a point of living separate lives. At first, she thought I was trying to be included in the trip and go with her and the kids. I quickly explained that no, that was 100% not what I wanted, without even mentioning that being around my mother-in-law for an entire weekend would have required my entire bottle of Xanax. What I was hoping for was that she and the kids could stay home with me. There are a whole bunch of picnic, barbecue, and block party events going on in and around our neighborhood, and I thought we could go to some of those and spend time as a family. In my head, starting off by doing something as a whole family instead of just as a couple would build in a buffer for her and would give me a chance to show that I can be a real partner in parenting and would let her see me in what I know is my best light as a dad. That was what I thought in my head. But apparently my head and my wife's head were not on the same page, and she said no to that idea by saying, I want to spend the weekend with my family. One thing our therapist stressed repeatedly was that to have any chance at productive conversations, we both need to avoid any kind of escalation in our communication. So I took a deep breath and did not point out that spending the weekend with me and the kids would be spending it with our family.
No, stupid.
She's
talking about her whole family.
That's like needlessly misinterpreting what she just said.
You know what you're doing.
You know what she meant. If I were in a partnership and I was like, yeah, I really want to like spend some time with my family, I don't see them a lot this weekend at the freaking
The yearly
lake
tradition
house or
that
whatever.
we do
Yeah.
every year.
where we get to see all of the big family stuff.
Probably
and
been looking forward to it.
friends.
So have the kids, maybe.
And Opie's like, I'm your family. I'd be like, yeah, okay,
And
well,
you're
I
like-
didn't say you weren't.
And honestly, it sounds like your wife is like, yeah, and you can come to the
Yes!
lake.
Also, and despite what many Redditors have said I should do, I didn't lay out any ultimatums or ask her to cut back on contact with her family because that would be not good of you to do. Or suggest that she was planning some kind of lakeside hookup with some guy my mother-in-law might better approve of. But this is where I might have been the a-hole. Or definitely was, according to my wife. I tried sticking to the I feel idea and told her that I felt like if you took the kids and went to camp without me, especially if you only went less than a day after our counselor said we needed to make more time together, that you were making a choice. At that point, that's no longer an I feel statement. That's a I think that you,
Yeah.
which you can't make up what other people are doing
I
because
feel like you're excluding me.
like that doesn't work. That's not what an I
And
feel
it
statement
really
is.
so clearly reads like you're excluding yourself and
Yeah.
then making it her fault.
Well, just also like when therapists recommend I feel statements, it's supposed to be, I think, from what I understand, it's supposed to be I feel hurt, I feel excluded.
All right. The whole point is so that
Yes.
it's not you going, well, you need
Yes.
to do
And he
X, Y,
went,
Z.
I feel like you are making a choice, which is you didn't use it
You
right.
put a you in the I statement.
Yeah. And that choice was clearly not us. So in her mind, for all intents and purposes, I gave her an ultimatum. Do you think she took that well and we were able to have a calm and productive and healthy conversation about it and maybe even come to some sort of compromise? Do you think I'd be posting this at almost midnight on the Friday of a holiday weekend because my blood pressure is through the roof and I can't sleep if she did? She told me in no uncertain terms that I was the a-hole for laying that all on her. She reminded me that it was my choices that got us here in the first place. What did you do? She stopped packing, and after making sure both kids were asleep, she went into our bedroom, which has been only her bedroom for the last year, shut the door, and locked it. Now I have no idea if I'm going to wake up to my wife and kids waiting to hang out with me and spend the next 3 days together, or if they'll be on the road to camp before the sun is even up. I do know that she thinks I'm absolutely the a-hole, and I kind of think she might be right. Yeah! So my wife has already told me that I'm the a-hole in this situation, even if she didn't use those exact words, and I know nothing Reddit would have to say about it would change her mind, especially since I won't or can't tell her that I'm even posting about it. But I'm starting to question my own judgment a bit here. Maybe you all can set me straight. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she was choosing her family over her family with me and the kids? And there are some comments, and I really want to read them.
Yeah, let's honestly.
We're
let's
going to
just
get
read 'em.
into them. Comment one. So my initial thought was that there must be some missing reasons and that you were not being honest. But having read all your posts, this isn't a healthy marriage, even before your job loss. Your wife doesn't seem to be able to communicate with you unless it involves criticism. This seems to mirror your mother's behavior so clearly you've developed a belief that criticism equals valid communication and therefore don't see why it's a problem. You pinpoint your job loss as the moment it all went wrong, but I saw from an earlier post and comment that your wife never wanted you to take the job and made it clear for 2 years that she disagreed with your decision. We need to go back to all of these posts. I need more context. So there's an issue with your wife's communication and treatment of you even before the job loss. I'm sure you've contributed to the issues in the marriage, which you have acknowledged yourself, but I'm just going to say something that you seem to be avoiding. I don't think your wife likes you. I'd probably agree with that. I don't think you guys really like
I
each
would
other.
agree.
I'm not talking about love or respect. She doesn't seem to like you on the basic level that a relationship needs to be founded upon. I don't know if she just married you because she felt she was running out of options or time to have children, but it seems like she married you even though everyone around her recognized that she was making a bad decision, and she regrets that decision ever since. You don't have to live like this. Even if you get past the issues with physical intimacy and trust and are able to live together as a couple again, she will still not like you. Don't you deserve better? You're the only one who's talking about love. She isn't. She can't even say she doesn't love you. She brushed past that entirely. OP, I don't think anything you do will be enough. You can't fix something if you don't know what is broken. More than that, you can't fix something that isn't broken. And I'm not sure this marriage is broken so much as a mistake. And I mean that kindly. Your wife seems to have married you for the wrong reasons and regrets it, and nothing you do will change that. Please consider further individual counseling to see why you're letting yourself be treated like this and why the success of your marriage is so crucial to you. Ending a marriage doesn't mean you failed, and you may even find it easier to parent without your parents and in-laws tagging along. OP says, the success of my marriage is crucial to me because I love my wife and my kids, and I want my family to stay together. When I thought I lost them, I have never been in so much pain. I get what you're saying about it not meaning I failed, but I have to disagree. What else could it mean? And that failure would leave me entirely alone, and I don't know if I could handle that. What's happening now could only be temporary. That wouldn't be. And there is an update. I would love to know what happened in those other posts, but I don't think that this relationship is long-lasting.
I would just like to be a fly on the wall.
I need more backstory. I need long story long. I need long story even longer, honestly.
Yeah, what was your job? Why didn't she want you to take it? Why did you lose it?
Why did you
know?
get kicked out for 6 months?
I imagine this is in my head. So
Yeah.
she didn't like the job, didn't want him to take it.
Yes.
Then she's pregnant with a baby. And then he quits his job and goes,
you didn't even want me to take it.
I quit that job you hated so much, honey. And she goes, right before I have the freaking kid? She's like, are you the dumbest person I've ever met? Yeah, I don't like the job, but now you needed the job because we're having a baby. What is wrong with you?
Like,
And then she would you out, or you left, or she wanted you to leave, so you left for her. I don't know. We've never gotten a clear
zero
actual
information.
statement
Can
on
we
what that
find-
6-month period was about.
I mentioned in a comment reply to my last post that my wife actually woke me up early the morning after I had basically given her an ultimatum to choose between our family and her family. She wanted to talk before she and the kids left for my in-laws' camp. TBH, I was expecting it to be the I'm not coming back or we should get lawyers talk, but it wasn't. To my surprise, my wife, I called her Carrie on the other sub, so I'll do it here, actually apologized. She said the comment about wanting to spend the weekend with her family had been out of line and intended to hurt me. She was pissed, annoyed at me because she knew I was kind of right about what I was saying, and she lashed out. It's not the first time that's happened, so her explanation didn't shock me that much. But she also said that she understood where I was coming from. If we want to fix things, and we both said we do, then lashing out like that needs to stop, and we do need to spend time together as a family. And she completely got why choosing to spend the entire weekend with her family, whose dislike for me had just become public knowledge, instead of being with me, might have been upsetting for me. For a moment, I thought she was going to invite me to camp with her, and I'm not going to lie, I was panicking. I was worried that right after I'd more or less demanded she spend time with me, I was going to have to refuse an invitation to do exactly that. But there was no chance I was going to willingly spend 3 days with my mother-in-law or sister-in-law, particularly not after our last counseling session. Carrie didn't invite me. Instead, she offered a compromise. She and the kids would go to camp Saturday and stay until midday Sunday, then come home and spend the rest of the weekend with me. There were some family members of hers who live out in California who would be there on Saturday, and she doesn't get to see them very often. That actually felt really fair to me. And like Carrie was putting in an honest effort to try and meet me halfway, so I agreed. I think that's really reasonable. I think it does, it's good that she admitted it, that she was, because I didn't realize that she was coming from that as like I wanted to hurt him, which is why I said, I'm going to go visit my family. So it's good that they had that conversation, but I still don't know if this is going to work out.
You're going to let your mother-in-law and your sister-in-law like scare you forever? What are they going to do? Like, as we know in the previous story, mother-in-law or his wife seems to be somewhat supportive of him in social settings. It's not like she's going to just like also dunk on him. I feel like if you show up in a good faith gesture of like, we're working on a marriage. We know it's not good right now. It's public knowledge that it's not good right now, but we're trying to make it better. Are you going to dunk on us for that? Really? You're going to try to make us small for that?
I somewhat agree and somewhat disagree, because I feel like if you had like a person who like actively dislike you, actively are rude to you, I understand why OP would not want to be around them. But I also could see another world where he talks to his wife and is like, hey, I'm going to need you to back me up if they say anything. Because now, like, I just can't be around them if they're going to be rude and...
Well, and it's like, let's be real. You're at the lake. Like, you're not going to be spending the whole time with mother-in-law, sister-in-law. You got 2 kids. Go be a dad with your kids.
Yeah.
At the lake.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
They left for camp that morning and came back on Sunday as planned, and we had a really nice day and a half together. There was a block party kind of thing on Monday, and we took the kids to that, and I made sure to handle baby duty with our daughter as much as possible to give Carrie a break. She seemed pretty appreciative of that and got to spend some time with a few of our neighbors that she struck up friendships with and introduced me to some of them who I hadn't met yet. It was nice. It felt normal, I guess. But as the day wore on, it got to be time to head back home. I started getting anxious. The kids were wiped and would clearly be heading straight to bed which would leave me and Carrie alone for more than the hour or so that we'd had on Sunday night. If we followed the counselor's advice, we should spend that time together. Yes, I was under no illusion that spending time was going to result in any sort of spousal relations or anything like that, but there would have to be talking, and I was concerned about what topics of conversation wouldn't lead us to some sort of trouble. And it felt like maybe I was right when the first thing Carrie said was that she wanted to talk about the possibility of her having those girls' night with her mom and sister. We'd essentially punted on that topic during our last counseling session. Other things had come up that had escalated tensions, and the therapist said we probably weren't in the best place to make a good decision about any of it at the moment. But since she'd spent a day and a half with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, I guess I shouldn't have been surprised it came back up. I was surprised that she offered another compromise. She didn't have to cut her work hours down part-time. She'd just have to adjust hours on other days so she could leave early on the girls' night days and come in late the following day. Apparently, she'd already cleared that with work and could start doing it whenever she wanted, even as soon as this week. She hadn't been at work since our last sessions, so it was obvious that she had gotten all this clearance before we had even talked about it with the therapist. On the one hand, I could see how it was a compromise and seemed pretty fair, which was good. On the other hand, I felt sort of misled. Like she had made the compromise about the weekend to soften me up for the possibility of agreeing to girls' night. Is that what she said, or is that what you're just assuming?
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing reads like OP constantly
Makes
assumes the
assumptions.
worst
Yeah.
of any given situation.
Well,
and
even
then
in
is
this- yeah.
dumbfounded when it is not actually the worst possible scenario that could be going on.
Even in the zoo story, he was like, oh, when my wife defended me, that's the best. Like, I can't believe she did that. That's the best thing she's ever said in months. It's like he just assumes that his wife is gonna, I don't know.
Because,
is
brother,
out to
it's
get him.
so true. And I would crap on that notion that it's like you find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for negativity. It just follows me around everywhere. But the more you just are attuned to finding whatever's wrong, the quicker you're going to be to see it. And that's all he does, it feels like.
It's the plot of Meet the Robinsons.
This guy
it's
is
Goob.
Goob.
You're Goob.
Oh my God. OP is Goob.
He's Goob.
Oh no.
He's Goob. I'll say that might be me being paranoid or overly suspicious, and that's probably a direct result of how many she's planning to cheat or already is comments I've gotten here. But just because you're paranoid, that doesn't mean they're not out to get you, right? I did my best to ignore the paranoia, but also get to what was starting to worry me. I asked her flat out why having a weekly girls' night with her mom and sister, something she'd never done before, was so important to her now, especially since both mother-in-law and sister-in-law are very actively against our marriage. I said I didn't want to cut her off from them or prevent her from having some fun and an escape, but the idea of her spending an entire night out drinking and in situations where there's a pretty high likelihood of venting and complaining about relationships with two people who might be inclined to encourage her worst instincts when it came to our relationship made me really anxious. I didn't suggest that she might be using as an opportunity to cheat. I didn't even let on that the thought she might have find someone else had crossed my mind. I stayed as far away from any of that as possible and tried to keep the conversation focused on my worries about her spending that much time with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. Carrie said she understood. She said that was a reasonable concern, especially given all that she'd shared in our sessions about her mom's feelings towards me. And she said that normally she'd probably give in and stay home and spend that time with me and the kids. But she said, my sister needs me right now. Her husband left her.
Dang.
And perhaps if we had asked, why are you reinstating these nights? In kind of a normal tone, just a questioning, curious tone, maybe we would have gotten that answer. Apparently, brother-in-law left sister-in-law the day after the family's annual 4th of July party, and my sister-in-law is not taking it well. And when sister-in-law doesn't take something well, my mother-in-law takes it worse. And since brother-in-law was the golden boy, the perfect son-in-law, the one I was always unfavorably compared to, there's a lot of upset and anger and sadness, and Carrie feels like she needs to spend time with her family to support her sister. She wants to help sister-in-law navigate suddenly being a single parent, and help her figure out if she can find a way to reconcile with brother-in-law and basically act like sister-in-law's conscience and keep her from making any bad choices while there's still the possibility of saving her marriage. Bad choices like hooking up with some random dudes at a bar during one of their girls' night, which, as I found out last night in counseling, is the exact reason brother-in-law left her. She cheated on him. So my wife is asking me to be okay with her spending nights out with her mother, who hates me, and her sister, who's a cheater and hates me, and not feel any kind of way about all that. By the way, you should feel great about listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There's a
will
little bit
say-
left to this story.
He is also very steadily set on the fact that he will not leave her unless she cheats. And
And he really wants her to cheat.
Yeah, and is like pushing like, and that's just something that their whole family does.
I think he really wants her to cheat. I think he's like, I think she cheated because I
literally-
think she might have
A
cheated.
response. I don't know if there's a point at which I will go ahead and call it other than if she actually cheats or cheated. I
Yeah.
won't stick around if that happens.
Well, it certainly doesn't feel like he wants that based on how he just wrote that. He's like,
I don't
she
think he
expects
wants
she
it.
expects me to be okay with her spending time with people who hate me and cheat on their partners,
But I think he
who are
thinks that
also
she
her
already
direct
has
relatives.
cheated. That's what all of those comments felt like. And even if I do, it doesn't really matter as sister-in-law needs her and Carrie's already made it all good with work. And in doing that, she was compromising on what she really wanted and had asked for. And that's a good thing and a sign of progress for our own reconciliation. And both Carrie and our therapist think if I can just see it in those terms, I'll realize that there's nothing to be worried or upset about, which is how I got here. Writing an update to Reddit while my daughter is napping in her crib next to me, and my wife is on her way to mother's house for girls' night, which got moved to Friday night thanks to the holiday, so she doesn't even have to worry about work tomorrow. And I'm just fine with that. Really, I'm totally 100% fine with it. I even told Carrie that on her way out the door. I'm fine with it. Go ahead, Reddit. Tell me I'm an idiot trying to cling to any small steps in the right direction for his family, but still an idiot. And that's the end of that story,
Oh,
folks.
man.
My boyfriend's ex is living rent-free in his house while we struggle with rent.
This story's about to live rent-free in my head. I can already tell.
I'm 32 female and moved to England when I was 19. My parents had me very young, 19 and 20. I was obviously not planned, and they only stayed together because of me until I was 7. We lived in my dad's one-room flat until then, but aside from that, my dad didn't really contribute much financially or emotionally, and I consider myself to have been raised by a single mom. By the way, this comes from Chesu, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. Well, you know what we'd do. So let us know what you do in the comments. And OP says, we definitely struggled. We moved around a lot. By the time I was 10, I had moved 6 times. Our homes were always clean and warm. There was always food on the table, but they weren't always in the best areas. And my mom didn't always have her own room. At times, she had to drive pizza taxi in her used 2-door car before Uber Eats was even a thing. All of my extracurriculars were the free kind at local community centers, and I spent quite a lot of time alone, taking myself to school since I was 7. Had to sort my own food for lunch, etc. We couldn't afford pets, phones, and computers were considered purchases, and when I did get anything, it would never be the popular model. I never knew we were poor, but I knew we weren't rich. Regardless, I consider my childhood relatively happy. Today, my mom is incredibly accomplished. She has 3 degrees, wow. A great job, owns her city center flat outright, and is free to live her life how she pleases. I've learned to always aim to be independent, pay my own way, and give back where I can. This is to highlight how my partner and I came from completely different upbringings and understandings of money. I moved to London at 22. I did receive some financial aid from my grandparents, probably roughly 1 year's worth of rent and essential expenses. The rest I covered with part-time jobs and university grants. Aside from this, I've never lived at home or received any other financial aid from my family. I have paid for every bill, food, shop, holiday, etc. on my own, and I'm proud to say I've never had an overdraft, even on a salary that started at $20K and never exceeded $30K. Obviously, this has come with sacrifices. I've only ever lived in shared housing with issues like mold, no working appliances, shoebox rooms, and heavy drinker, borderline aggressive housemates. 6 months ago, I lost my job and flat on the same day. If my partner didn't step up financially, my only option would be to move back home after 13 years. I'd wanted to move in together for a while anyway, but now this became a necessity. After a lot of back and forth of not committing on his behalf, when push came to shove, he insisted on getting a flat together and said he would be good for it. He's the guarantor, so legally speaking, the risk is all his. My partner, 35 male of a little over 2 years, met his ex, 35 female, when they were 16. both living abroad with their families. My partner thinks his parents barely get by, but from the stories he tells me, they went to Disneyland, New York, Lapland, skiing trips in America, plays in London. I think his understanding is a bit skewed. They were never really struggling and certainly weren't by the time he was 16. He followed his ex to her hometown, a big city smaller than London. He went to university, she didn't. Shortly after, his grandma passed away and he inherited a house amount of money, so the two of them have virtually never paid rent. The house is a well-kept 3-bed, 2.5 bath with a large living room, garden, and allocated parking space.
This is giving the same energy of that like interview with Victoria Beckham.
Yeah.
Where like David Beckham comes in and he's
Yeah.
like, no.
I
No,
know.
tell him what your dad drove.
Yeah.
Tell him what car he drove.
And she's
Yeah.
like, no, it's not like that. He's like, no, tell him.
Yeah.
And what was it?
I don't remember.
It was a
I think
Rolls
there's this
Royce
thing
or
of
a
like
Bentley.
Yeah.
very like
I
rich
just
people
remember, yeah.
wanting to like
They
cosplay as
poors.
poor. Yeah.
They cosplay as the poor.
Yeah, it's weird.
As the poor.
The expenses were probably close to 50-50 on compulsory costs, though he contributed to all refurbishing, furnishing, and upkeeping. He's always had expensive taste from tops to tek and takes a lot of pride in the house, so that's probably where a lot of his money went. They also went on a fair share of holidays. Eventually, he started working in London, so car expenses racked up. He is actually currently £5,000 into his overdraft. That's bad.
That's a lot of weight.
By the time they were in their mid-20s, they'd effectively grown apart. She never left her hometown. He worked shift work in London and was away for more than half the month. In the mix of avoidance and convenience, they didn't end the relationship and got pregnant after contraception failed. Well, that's not good because kids are expensive.
A tale as old as time.
He'd never wanted kids for a variety of reasons, but money was up there. Turns out she did, and ultimately she had the final say. They had the child. He's come around to it now and loves her more than anything, but he literally went on antidepressants initially, and whatever was left of the relationship was no more. They split officially when the kid was about 3. At that point, he was covering all the house expenses, coming to about £500 a month, roughly what the official child support would be, and was doing all the DIY jobs. She was covering most everything else. This arrangement worked up until recently. She now lives there full time and pays £200 towards bills. He visits every other weekend. Initially, we had a friends with benefit arrangement. We'd been friends for years before. And he covered a bit more of the going out expenses, whilst I was still covering all of my expenses. Now we're in a situation where the London rental market is so insane, I wasn't able to secure anything on my own being unemployed. So we got a room and a shared flat together, which totals at £1,300 or £650 each.
Yeah, it's funny to put it that way, I think.
What?
The London rental market is now so insane, I can't get an apartment while I'm unemployed. It's like, well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, I guess I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But also the London
just-
rental market is
It
pretty
is.
crazy.
I'm just saying, it's a funny way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy. I have to have a job to pay rent? People won't let me get an apartment when I have no job?
Well,
What kind of world are we living in?
Finding something big enough in the right location, good condition, that would accept benefits and couples, and had a breakout clause, this was a rare find. My income, even with benefits and a freelance job, is currently probably no more than £1,000, with 65% going on rent. I've not received any of that payment yet, and I'm living out my redundancy payout. The job market is rough. My mental health has been in the gutter, and it's difficult to focus on job search when you're sleeping on a new sofa every 2 weeks. I paid the deposit and first month's rent, so he already owes me. I've cut down spending. Our date nights have dropped to about once a month and are driven by deals and fast food. I managed to get a free gym membership and walk there 35 minutes through a not-so-great area, barely bought anything for myself, etc. From what I understand, he has tried to cut down some expenses, like changing the insurance on his house, canceling some subscriptions, and the ex is now paying half the bills, but clearly that's not been enough. After taxes, pension, and student loan, his take-home salary without any overtime is probably about £2,300. Excluding the car cost, which he only has to see his kid, house expenses, and now our rent, this should probably leave him with up to £1,000 a month on everything else, which in 2025 is doable, but objectively on the tighter side. I'm not sure what the ex is on for sure, but I imagine her take home after taxes plus child benefit is probably at least £2,500. A 2-bed in the area would be at least $1,000, and that's on the lower end, which their current home certainly isn't. If she paid rent but received child support, her net would probably be around £1,500. At the moment, her net is £2,300. Regardless of what the actual number is, rent is estimated to be 30 to 50% of your costs that she's saving on. Just looking at the things I can see, it's obvious they're not struggling. She's been on 4 all-inclusive holidays during half terms in the last 9 months, each at least £1,500. Whew. The 5-year-old got an iPad for her birthday on top of a big birthday party outside the home. She has so many toys, my boyfriend literally had to build a shed to store them, and goes to a minimum of 3 extracurriculars a week, and at least 1 requires additional equipment. They have several Disney and Netflix subscriptions running every month.
Several?
The mom has a fancy leased car, Apple phones and watches, has regular hair and nail appointments. A lot of this is luxury, and yes, she does spend fun money on the kid as well, but she can only do that because she has the extra money. That'd be all well and good if both parents, particularly the one who actually owns the home and doesn't qualify for the same external aid a single mom would, wouldn't have to be borderline homeless. Right now, the situation is entirely unbalanced. He can't even cover half the rent with me, let alone get anything for himself. He refuses to ask her for rent because there's no rent on the house and she doesn't ask me for any of the kids' expenses. I shouldn't be blaming him for wanting the best for his kid, and what she spends her money on is none of my business. I have no interest in living in the house, and I don't care what she actually spends her money on, but I do care that my partner would be able to pay his share of rent, which does affect me. If he's short a few hundred, I can't see why she can't be contributing that towards the rent in the house that she's been living in rent-free for 15 years.
So what I'm hearing is you're like, this doesn't affect me, but it affects me. And I don't care what she spends her money on, but I do care. It's like, I think we just need to take her out of the equation and figure out,
your
what to do
partner,
outside of her. Because it doesn't
partner.
sound like there's any way to approach that's going to be changeable.
Yeah, like you can't do anything about their situation, but you do have to talk to your partner and say like, hey, I understand that you're paying a lot, but we can't go on like this and that we got to find a solution.
Yeah.
OP continues. I don't understand why having a child excuses someone from all necessary financial responsibility. If she dropped down to 2 or 3 holidays a year, that would probably already make up the difference. He won't go through court because his worst case scenario is her moving out completely. Now having an empty house in a city he doesn't live in and child support on top of that. And then you would rent it out and you would get more money. Selling the house would mean seeing the kid in a hotel and still being out of pocket. I do get that this is a complicated situation, but it's not a sustainable one if he wants to have a life or home of his own, regardless of me being in the picture. And edit, just to be clear, her spending would be none of my business if it didn't bleed into his financials and by proxy into mine. I would be fine with a 50-50 split between us and maybe expect him to step up a little more whilst I find my feet. But this came up more aggressively this week when rent was due and he wasn't good for it, and claimed there was just nowhere else to get the money from, aka it's my problem to sort. We absolutely do not see eye to eye on this, and in an argument he told me to run this by my therapist, but I thought Reddit would have more of a variety of options.
Was your therapist an accountant? What do you? Yeah. Look. I think you should probably just not live in London.
Yeah,
that might be the reality of your situation.
Unfortunately, maybe you can't afford to live in one of the most expensive cities in the world.
I mean, if it's not like you need to be in London for your career, your job, because that's where it is. I don't think that's where you need to be.
Yeah. By the way, I would like you to be here, listening to more full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. Update. Well, clearly I am the a-hole as far as this comment section is concerned. I really do struggle to see how my opinion is this controversial. The opinion being that both parents' housing and essential needs should be covered before any extras and luxuries, regardless of whether I'm in the picture or not. But clearly it is. A running theme in the comments seemed to be that I want a man to pay for my expenses instead of his child. Well, that's not true. OP just wants him to pay for his own expenses. That is not true, and I don't know why it's coming across that way. I just want him to be able to pay his share, which, as it turned out 2 days ago, he isn't able to. And the only way he's good going forward is renegotiating his financial agreement with his ex, who in real money terms is almost certainly far better off than he would be without him, or with any legal requirement in place. And that is the end of that story. Good luck, OP. I hope that you guys are able to figure out your financial situation, because it might just mean you are not able to live with this guy who can't afford to live in the place that you live together with.
Yeah, I don't like any of that. I think you should move to Sussex.
Yeah.
My family expected me to always put them first, but not this time.
Family first, but like you're part of your family, so you come first too.
That's right. And this is from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. One of our own family members. If you're here, say hey. For some backstory, I live with my family in a 2-bedroom apartment in New York. It was my grandma, my mom, my sister, and my brother, and me in 1 bedroom. And my uncle stayed in the 2nd bedroom. Once I was 15, I started to work to help my family out. I had to give them half of my paycheck to my grandma and help with bills, which was minimum $150 a week and a maximum of $230 a week. Holy cow. My uncle gave her $70 a week, and my mom gave around $100 a week. By the way, this comes from Smart Mouth Virgo, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit, where this one is also from. When I turned 18, this arrangement changed due to the fact that I was basically given a mattress and told I would have to sleep on there until further accommodation was made. I slept on the mattress for the next 1.5 years when I moved out with my boyfriend. I was told that although I didn't have my own room or a decent bed, I had to keep on giving them half of my check. I didn't think this was fair and just stopped giving her half of my check and gave her $100 weekly. By the way, during this time, rent was about $450 a month since she was in Section 8. I am the oldest of my siblings and am seen as the responsible one and the dependable one in the family. These exceptions were only set for me. These exceptions were never expected of my siblings. Now to current times. I'm 24. A few months away from 25. Last year, I found out I was pregnant with my miracle baby and was honestly shocked and surprised at the idea. During my pregnancy, my family still had certain expectations of me as a person they come to with a lot of their problems, and I would have to fix it. During my pregnancy, I was constantly called to know where my brother was or what he was up to, or figure out his school situation. I was also called during this time to tell me how bad of a time my sister was having, who got pregnant 2 months after me, and would add to how easygoing my pregnancy was compared to hers. Never once was a call to ask about me or how I was doing. It was sad, but I ignored the feeling and just brushed it off as my hormones. Yikes, dude, this is crazy.
Why is it a competition to see who has the more difficult pregnancy?
Dude, I don't know, just something to complain about. I feel like a lot of people just want something to complain about.
Yeah.
If they don't, they're going to find it. I cannot be around those people. It just, I have become that person before, and I try to not become that person. Sometimes it just happens, but
Sometimes you don't recognize it when it's happened. But
Yeah.
the fact that you can look back on it and recognize it means there was character growth there and
Wow.
that you're not that person anymore.
well, it comes back sometimes. But dude, this is so sad.
Imagine sleeping on a mattress on the floor and having to pay that much in rent. Like
They're just
no.
they're just using you to pay the bills. I don't think they really care about you,
No.
OB.
They care about OP's ability to caretake and provide,
Yeah.
but not their personhood.
Yeah, that's a good point. On December 20th, my mother was set to get surgery on her spine due to her hernias she had in advance. I had to voice to both my mom and grandma that I wouldn't be able to be at the hospital 2 days in a row since I was literally 36 weeks pregnant at the time, and it would be really difficult and stressful for me and the baby, and that I also had to work. So we settled that I would be there on the 21st since she was going to get discharged that day and needed some help and someone to take her home. Well, the day of the surgery, my grandma starts blowing up my phone saying that I'm a bad daughter to my mother since I am not there for her, and starts saying that I should be going with my mother. During my pregnancy, I had really bad anxiety, which I still have, and started crying and got an anxiety attack to the point that I started getting Braxton Hicks. That's crazy.
What is that?
I think it's like bumps and stuff on you.
Oh,
Where you
okay.
have such a bad anxiety attack. That's what I think it is.
I don't know for sure, but I think it's something about like early contractions, pretty much.
Got
Like
it.
that it's not actually
Yeah.
the baby's not actually coming, but it's like
Yeah.
painful contractions.
What is
Angie's right.
Braxton Hicks?
Angie's right. It's false labor or sporadic contractions.
Also
I
known
learned
as
that from friends.
practice contractions or false labor, guys. On the 21st, I went over to the hospital to get my mom and had to wait about 3 hours until she got discharged. I took her to my grandma's and went home. It's important to say that my mother has severe anxiety, depression, and is bipolar. During this time, she stopped taking her medication until the 28th of December, which sent her in a spiral. I was called by my grandmother to calm my mom down because my mother pushed her and started packing her stuff. She didn't want her to get hurt because she was supposed to be in complete rest mode during recovery. I got over there, and my mother starts yelling at me and says that I left her like a stray dog in the hospital, and a lot of other things that I'd rather not say. It's absolutely sucked to hear those things. But I didn't blame her because she wasn't on her medication. There's the life source that these vampires are sucking from, OP.
It's her fault for not being on her meds.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that people sometimes don't want to take their meds because of how it makes them feel, but that's a choice on you sometimes.
Yeah, and could she have meds after surgery? Was she not able to? That's my
Well, I mean,
other question. Like, if you had a surgery done on your spine, can you even take these
Right.
meds?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
On January 6th, I gave birth right after midnight and waited until the morning to let everyone know. I was in the hospital until the 8th, and no one from my family showed up. The only one that went was my little brother. I was hit with every excuse in the book and just said it's okay because I didn't know what else to say. After giving birth, it was the same thing. Calling to know what's going on with my brother, my sister, or to tell me their problems and not actually knowing about me. In April, my mom had another surgery and the same expectations were had, although I was taking care of my baby and couldn't leave him with anyone. I went to the hospital with my baby, where I had an anxiety attack because they told me I wouldn't be able to see my mom because I had my baby with me, which I understood, but at the moment, it was devastating because I was expected to make sure my mom was okay by my grandma. They let me see her for a few minutes, and then I go. About a month and a half ago, my uncle was in the hospital because of his diabetes, and I was the one my grandma called to be there and figure out what was going on. To get to my mom and my uncle, there were no excuses. They were there for them. I was literally a 15-minute car ride from my grandma when I gave birth, and no, they didn't show up for me. And for the people that always speak on how important family is, I haven't felt like family in a very long time because you're a family member, but you're not a family member to them. No one has ever made an effort for me, but I make the effort for everyone else, and none of them do it for me. I take everyone's burdens and fix them. I have time and time again to try to set boundaries, but they break them. And on top of everything, I fall back into helping even when I try not to because my grandma starts chatting my ear off about how ungrateful and selfish I am or how I'm abandoning the family.
Why pay for like a live-in nurse when you can have one for free?
Yeah, when you can get one for free.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's even worse.
Dude, at this point, I'm thinking of taking space from my family because I feel like I am not seen as family, but as someone they can use. Currently, I'm dealing with postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety, and I feel like every time I speak to them, my anxiety goes through the roof, and I need to prioritize my baby and my well-being. And right now, I know they're not good for me. Honestly, I don't know if I'm being unreasonable for taking care of my mental health in this form. By the way, the beginning was giving context to what was expected of me. I don't hold any resentment towards what I had to contribute. It's just messed up how much I had to contribute apart from doing laundry for everyone, cleaning, and taking care of my brother. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. This is so bad. I'm so sorry, OB.
This is putting too much expectation on a family member. Like, you wouldn't do this to someone like you would pay to take care of the family. Like
Oh,
they
yeah,
wouldn't take
no.
it. So the fact that you are a family is just giving them that wiggle room
Yeah.
to abuse you like that, because it's again with that idea of it's for the family, so you have to do it. Like, yes, family comes first, but you're not family at this point.
Yeah.
You're the help.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just treating you like you're the help. Yeah. Awesome, Ashley. Leave and take your brother with you. I think that might be the best move here. Just go no contact. Pull the funding. They're just going to guilt you.
Yeah.
Change your number. Change where you live. Just be like, you're not respecting me. And honestly, I think taking 6 months away from them, Duchess says either they need to come halfway in your relationship, or those relationships
We're destined to fail
Oh,
anyway.
destined to fail anyway. Yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to get better
Ugh.
from here because they've gotten away with it so far. And every single time, OP has done what is right for the family and
Yep.
has never had any pushback.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no expectation from the rest of the relatives that OP would ever take time for themselves.
Yeah,
I think the kicker is that no one came to support OP when OP had their baby.
that is true.
That's, I think, the worst
no one
part.
visited. No one came to help.
If at least they came to support, there is at least some expectation that if OP needed it, they would be there to support, that there is the support system. And that, yes, it's rough that everyone needs her,
Yeah,
but, like, there is no support system there. It's just, I need this and you need to be here.
I refuse to give my address to my family because of how they treated me.
You do not have access to this address.
We have a trigger warning for emotional abuse. I, 20 female, need some advice on whether I'm being the a-hole for wanting to go low contact with my family, since having them in my life puts my peace of mind on the line. My mom married my stepdad when I was 3. He already had a daughter whom my mom welcomed with open arms. Later, they had a son, making us a family of 5. By the way, this comes from Nervous Emphasis 6614 on the r/Charlotte Dobrev YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And I'm Keon.
And OP says, when I was younger, my stepdad seemed like the perfect dad. He'd take me on adventures and spend time with me. But as I got older, he grew distant and cold. I always tried to maintain a relationship with him because I wanted advice, especially as I was exploring my spicy relatedity and navigating relationships. Unfortunately, he was emotionally absent most of the time and only seemed to exist as a prop to make our family look perfect while my mom did the heavy lifting. She was the one who asked about my day, gave advice, supported me through exams, and celebrated my achievements. Even though we weren't wealthy, our home was filled with love because of her. My stepdad brought tension and coldness, calling us stupid, threatening that we'd never amount to anything, and generally being emotionally harmful. After 6 years of unemployment, he finally got a job as a security guard, but his behavior didn't improve. If anything, he became more self-centered and disconnected. Fast forward to the present. My sister is getting married after 7 years with her boyfriend. It took years for my dad to approve of their relationship, but he finally did. Her fiancé proposed on her 21st birthday, which was adorable. My dad then turned to me and said, "You have a year to get married." Since my sister and I are a year apart in age.
Yeah, because that's how that works, you freaking psycho. What are you talking about?
In April 2025, I met someone amazing who completely changed my life. I wanted to introduce him to the family, starting with my aunt, who's open-minded and supportive. When she met him, we discovered that we knew each other's families well, which was comforting. Next, I introduced him to my parents. My mom immediately greeted him with a plate of food. Her love language is acts of service, and this gesture showed she liked him. My stepdad, however, acted extremely weird. He didn't come out to greet my boyfriend, which I found disrespectful. When he eventually had to get ready for work, he barked orders from the other room for hours and ignored my boyfriend when he tried to greet him. My mom was so embarrassed that she apologized on his behalf. My mom later realized that she and my boyfriend's grandmother have been good friends for years, and we actually share multiple family friends. This put her more at ease because she could see that he was raised well. Some context about our living situation. I had been living on my own for 4 months. My mom and dad had just received a 1-bedroom house after being on a waiting list for over 25 years. My mom had built a 3-bedroom house 5 years ago. She finally paid it off, but it was on rented land. To keep both properties safe, we decided I'd stay in the 3-bedroom and my parents and brother would move into the 1-bedroom house. I could afford rent on my own because of my decent paying job. Around this time, my boyfriend started visiting me on his days off and spent weekends at my place. This became a problem because the landlady didn't like that I was seeing someone. She complained constantly to my parents, claiming multiple men were visiting me every day, even though it was only him. I paid rent on time, never threw parties, and rarely interacted with her unless necessary. She even threatened to punt me out if this behavior didn't stop. After discussing it with my boyfriend, we decided to move in together without telling anyone. By the end of July, we found a place and moved in immediately. I didn't tell anyone, including my family, until the day of the move. I've kept my new address private despite repeated requests from my parents. They're very much against living together before marriage, and I told my boyfriend that we won't allow anyone to pressure us into marriage before we're ready. Ever since we moved, we've grown much closer and life is more peaceful. I'm thinking of going low contact or no contact with my family, but I'm a bit hesitant. I don't want to compromise my peace, but at the same time, I don't want to lose those closest to me. So, am I the a-hole for not giving my new address to my family after they've repeatedly asked for it? We have some comments, but what do you say, Dakota?
No!
Yeah,
Because your
you're
stepdad sounds
not.
like a nightmare.
Terrible.
I wouldn't want anyone associated with that guy knowing where I live.
Exactly.
Big facts.
You don't need to tell them. So don't. Commenter 1. Why would you want to disconnect from your mom again? She doesn't seem to treat you badly. And OP says, as much as I love my mom, she's not being very supportive right now. She's okay with my relationship. However, she is a devoted Christian and may not agree with the lifestyle choices that I make. I also see and feel the slight pressure she's adding to me, sharing my address, often saying that my brother misses me. We are quite close, and would like to visit but don't know where I live. I don't want to feel judged or looked down upon by those who are supposed to support me in my life's decisions, especially when it's to better my standard of living. The lifestyle they may have planned for me may not be the life I want for myself. I want them to recognize me as an adult, not some stupid teen getting herself into a situation she can't handle. Commenter 2. Not the a-hole. It sounds to me like your stepdad had something to do with your landlady being a bully to you. You're right to not give any of them your address. Comment 3. Why would your mom build a house on rented land? So she doesn't really own the house? That seems like an incredibly unintelligent decision. Commenter 4. I would sit down with family minus stepdad, agree to boundaries, and then give address. The rest of your family seems to be great. We have an update, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd keep it pretty close to the vest.
it's tough because it does sound like brother and mom were like not the worst, but they 100% are pressuring you and are also under the whim of stepdad.
Right, which is why it's not about them. It's about anyone who's associated with that guy and could leak that information out. And then that guy's going to be back bothering you.
Update. Thank you everyone for commenting and for the advice given. Many are confused about the house situation, so I will explain it as best I can. In my area, many people rent land rather than a full house. The government provides houses for low to middle income families who meet certain criteria, but the waiting list is extremely long. While waiting, people often rent a portion of someone else's property and put up their own portable home on that land. So you pay for the land space, but you own and maintain the structure you live in. However, our situation was different. The house we built was much larger than a normal portable home and couldn't easily be removed. My mom eventually negotiated with the landlady to agree on a price for it. Another factor in the tension was my younger brother. He's an outdoorsy boy who loves playing outside, but the landlady disliked that, especially since her own son preferred staying indoors. I told my parents he could stay behind with me, and they said no. I would let him come to me on weekends to escape our dad, but even that became a problem. The neighborhood I live in is quite rough, which is why the move was sudden. We couldn't risk leaving either home empty for too long. We didn't sell the house right away because my mom couldn't bring herself to do it just yet. After years of having nothing, this was something she could finally call her own, and it took her 5 years to pay off the loan. Another reason I'm considering low or no contact is that I've tried on multiple occasions for my dad to agree on a time to meet and actually speak to my boyfriend, but he keeps brushing it off by asking for my address. I think if you can't respect and acknowledge my boyfriend, then I don't see the reason to have you around me anymore. If my boyfriend is unwelcome at your residence, then you are unwelcome at ours. Simple. I'm planning on speaking to my parents this weekend to reiterate my boundaries. I know it's going to be chaotic. It always is when I express my boundaries. By the way, I want to express that you can always listen to full episodes with stories just like this. You go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, favorite podcast app, search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit more. But yeah, don't tell her your address.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of interesting factors combining into this story. And yeah, I think it's just unfortunate that your mom can't leave this guy who's because I can't imagine being a partner to someone. It's like if I have kids and my partner's being like, y'all are stupid idiots who will never amount to anything, I'd be like, you're no longer amounting to my fiance or my husband or whatever you are.
Exactly.
Like, you're now amounting to nothing to me. Get away from me. As far away from me as possible. But that just might not be an option financially or whatever you want to call it.
After years of emotional abuse, I still tried my best to make my dad feel loved. But because he couldn't love himself, he saw fault in everyone else, blaming those around him for the mistakes he made in life. I do want him to be part of my life, but I know that would only invite chaos back in. I've always seen him as my father, but he no longer accepts me as his daughter. Maybe because I'm older now, more aware, and less easy to control. I know him well enough to understand that if I gave him my address, he'd just show up unannounced, trying to dictate my life and reigniting the same fear I felt as a child whenever I dreaded his arrival. And that's the end of that story.
Well, that sounds like more of a also going to therapy problem.
Yes, some therapy,
Conquering
but
that
yeah,
fear
don't
of
tell
that
him.
stinky man.
Stinky men don't need to know your
Because he
address.
can't do anything. If he does show up to your house uninvited and unannounced and unwanted, you can call the police and they will
That's true.
forcibly remove him from your establishment. However,
You would hope.
you would like to just also avoid that entirely, which is fair.
Yeah.
So I would say no on the address. Say if you want to maintain a relationship with these people, you can meet in public spaces.
Yeah,
In
you can
common
still take
places.
your brother out on weekends for things. You just drop him back home at the end.
Yeah, 100%.
My family thinks I'm ruining my life because I'm planning to move.
Don't you dare move away from me!
I, female 22, and my partner, male 27, just welcomed our new baby in May. He is the most absolute perfect baby in the world. In October 2024, when I was 1 month pregnant, I lost the home I'd been living in for 2 years. This home was a statement of my independence and truly felt like my safe haven. I was absolutely lost, but my partner guaranteed we would be okay. By the way, this comes from False Raspberry 1372, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And OP says, we were both going through a really tough financial spot and thought our troubles would be over soon. We ended up moving into a home that my grandma used to live in before she passed. This home was seriously trashed. A hoarder house filled with fecal matter, trash, and fleas.
Fecal battered trash fleas. Wow.
The unholy trinity.
A new type of fleas, y'all.
I think that's how you get the plague. With
My
rats.
Don't go in there, dude.
Oh.
Burn it.
My
Accidentally.
My sister, female 24, was supposed to be caring for the home and cleaning it up, but she hadn't. We thought everything would be fine, that we'd clean it up and make this place a home. Well, let's just say the 9 months following that day were absolutely heck. We were promised this home would be our own, that we would buy it off my mom and be able to make something of ourselves. But from the moment we moved in, My sister and her boyfriend would fight constantly. I mean, literal screaming matches that lasted hours. From slamming doors to literally coming downstairs, waking us up, and demanding we choose sides.
My God. I would truly just go until they left me alone. I would pick no side except the side of noises.
That would probably work.
I want to see how long you can do that.
It escalated to full-on screaming at me while I'm just trying to walk to the bathroom. I pleaded with my mom to punt them out and let us handle everything, but she refused, saying my sister needs help and she can't abandon her. That was the first blow. The second was when we were forced to buy everything to fix the place up. We used our tax money, which was fairly good money, to buy flooring for the house. We were expecting help doing this project, but got nothing. We were doing the nursery and still had to deal with constant criticism about how the floor was done. My mom came in and ripped it apart to do it her way, causing us to waste good flooring. Once we finished that, we stayed there for 2 more months before my partner and I decided we needed to get out of there. Finally, the third blow. The plumbing was done improperly and required a $22,000 project to resolve it. Guess who was responsible to pay for it?
You were.
If you guessed us, you win a prize!
Oh.
What did we win?
Oh no, is it the fecal matter and the fleas?
Yes, it is.
Is it the old piping?
Oh.
It's the fecal matter fleas.
Metal pipe sound. .mp4.
As this house is only legally ours by renting, not even an ownership agreement, but just a rental agreement, we were told if we wanted it fixed, we had to fix it ourselves. By that point, we weren't going to take the risk because what if we don't get the house? We'd screw our credit over. It's too risky of a game to play. The cherry on the cake was my partner trying to find a good job for months during my pregnancy. I forgot she was pregnant. Crazy reminder.
Oh God, you're in that house pregnant? Get out of town. Get out of here. Literally. Leave.
He applied to over 100 places and not a single interview. He's been stuck in a construction job building grain bins for only $300 a week, while I was working full-time pulling in only $500 a week. By April 28th, I had to take my leave due to severe sciatica and pain, so I wasn't getting any pain anymore. Then came baby time. May 28th, I delivered my perfect son. I was so happy, it felt like all my troubles were gone in a single moment, even though they were just beginning. We moved in with my mom due to the sanitation of that home, leaving my 3 cats at the other house so we could still take care of them since they weren't allowed at my mom's. Okay?
Bro, you had 3 cats in the doo-doo fly flea house?
On day 3 postpartum, my sister calls me freaking out about my cats, claiming I need to get rid of them. Just some backstory. I have 3 wonderful cats. They're so sweet and gentle. I'd asked her a month prior if she could watch them for a week before my partner is back to working and driving to the house. She said she would, but was now freaking out on me, causing my first panic attack while heavily exhausted. This was my tipping point with our relationship. The drama following her has made me realize that blood isn't thick and that it's okay to simply let go of a family member. After 2 months of staying at my mom's, relentlessly trying for jobs and getting nothing while still paying rent and bills at the other place, we both had enough. We decided to come down to Florida as a little escape for 2 weeks to see his family. We're currently at his mom's so they can meet the baby. While we were here, my partner decided to try applying to a job. The first one got a call back within a day. It was his previous job before he'd moved to my home state, and he was offered his old position, making a pretty good wage. We decided maybe we should take that opportunity and move with his family. For one, we wouldn't be paying rent, bills, or groceries, although we will still help. And 2, we would finally get to bring our cats to live with us. They would help us until we're back on our feet and getting a place of our own. I was ecstatic with this idea and believed this was the answer to my prayers. I brought this up with my family previously, and they were passed away set on no, that it's too far, and they want my baby to grow up with his family in our home state. As much as I wanted to do that, it was hard since no job opportunities were coming to us and we were suffering. Well, I made the decision yesterday. It was final. I called my dad, sisters, and mom to get their support. While my dad is sad about it, he supports me. My mom and sisters, not so much. My sister, female 29, says I'm taking her nephew away, that I won't be happy there because I won't have them there, that they know me better than anyone and I'll just be miserable. My other sister, our roommate, says again I'll be taking their nephew away, ruining the chance of him knowing them, and completely screwing her over as she would have to take responsibility of the house.
Oh, boo-hoo. They're just trying to make you think like all of those are good things for you. They're not.
Yeah.
Get out of here with your kid.
They can cry about it if they want to.
Yeah, they can come visit.
Yeah, literally.
Is that an impossibility for them? No.
Sounds like an answer. She treated me horribly and was late on everything, so I honestly couldn't care less. My mom, worst of all, is saying that I'm destroying the family, that my partner planned this, that he's ripping us away from her. They all told me that they hate my partner for this, and then told me that I should respect their feelings, as if mine ever actually mattered to them. I said I understand their feelings and know they're upset, but this is a good opportunity for us. I explained the benefits and I said I would be able to visit whenever and that he will get to know them. They don't believe me. They are saying we have opportunities there, but we don't. We've both applied to good jobs, but got nothing for months. Now my phone was blowing up all night. It's 6 a.m. right now, and we're meant to be driving back from our vacation today. We weren't expecting to move right now. I'd planned on sticking around in my home state, taking my baby to his appointments, and switching his insurance out. Now I don't even know if I want to stay as long as I said I was going to. I have absolutely no family support, and everyone is messaging me saying I'm making a horrible decision for my son and that I'm not looking out for anyone's best interests. So am I the a-hole here? Should I stay or should I move and pursue this opportunity? We have some more backstory. I wrote this at like 4 or 5 a.m., half asleep and just going through my emotions. My grandma passed away from June of 2024. That's how my mom got the house. It's technically still in a contract with the owner that my grandma bought it from. It's a huge mess being dealt with in court, which is why I was also worried about not being able to actually buy it and pouring more money into it. Also, not a bot, not a creative writer or AI, though if I was, maybe I'd actually get a job, lol. And by the way, we're not a bot, so come hang out with us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app, search OK Storytime.
Quit your job and make it listening to us.
We have a little bit left. I was always walked over by my family. I mean, literally. What they said went. I just stuck like a lost puppy and followed along. But they are also my family, and I love them. This move is obviously going to take a huge toll since we've all always been so close. But why is it so wrong of me to want to, I don't know, spread my wings and fly? Sounds corny, but I just don't understand. We have an update.
Oh, yeah!
Since this morning, I applied to jobs last night and already got an interview this morning for a high-paying job at 11:30. Wish me luck. That's the end.
Dang.
That's crazy that they went on vacation in Florida, both applied to a job, and they were like, yeah, you want to interview?
Crazy.
It's crazy.
I think it's a sign. And I think it's a sign to get out of there.
Yeah.
If that's what happened, it's a sign. Don't listen to your family.
Should.
Get out.
I want to cut off my step family after my father passed away.
I guess there's no reason for you to stick around then.
My parents got a divorce when I was 6, and I haven't seen my mom since she was harmful. My dad remarried when I was 8. My stepmom wasn't harmful, but we never clicked. She tried to be my new mom right off the bat, and I found it weird, and she didn't like how I wasn't open to the idea right away. By the way, this comes from Cut Stepfam, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Oh, people are like cars. You just get a new one and it's fine.
And it's fine, and they'll adjust immediately. She also had a daughter who's 1 year younger than me. We didn't hit it off either. Don't get me wrong, she's a totally fine person, but as kids, she was the typical brat, so I guess it made it hard for us to really bond as kids.
And then she had a sister that was just like her, but they weren't as pretty as you, and then your dad left, and you always had to clean the house.
And then you met a prince. That's going to work out for you, OP. Once I hit my teens, I had a rough patch of being rebellious and overall not a good person. My dad gave me space like I needed, but my stepmom didn't see it that way, and we fought a lot because of it. My stepsister was all right during teen years. She got the more quiet and keep to yourself, so we didn't really have any conflict. But me and my stepmom didn't hit it off. And once I turned 18, I moved out first chance I got. I am now 24, and my dad sadly passed away from cancer. Though I didn't get along with my stepmom, I never stopped loving my dad, and we texted daily when I moved out. It was rough on me, and I do appreciate my stepmom helping me with the funeral, but that was a couple months ago, and I haven't really talked to her since. My stepsister has invited me over for Christmas, and honestly, I don't know if I want to go. Not because I don't like them, but because it's the same house that we grew up in, and it will remind me too much of my dad, and I'm still grieving. I know my stepsister and stepmom are too, but F it sucks because I don't know, I just want to be left alone for some time to process because it was only 3 months ago. Am I the a-hole if I don't show up to Christmas Day at my stepmom's place? And there are some comments and an update, but what do you think?
I recently had someone pass, and it wasn't my dad, but it was my great-grandfather. And I feel in that scenario, I'd want to be there just to like grieve it and let it all out.
Yeah.
This feels different because
It's not like people that she's emotionally attached to. It's kind of just people she's been forced into proximity with.
and they don't seem to have her best interest at mind. It's sort of, this is how I think things should go about, and you have to do that. And during this grieving process, it's such a very like sensitive time.
Yeah.
That you kind of need a little bit of grace more than you need to do this.
Yeah, I don't think that you should do anything just because you think you're expected to, or it's like, oh, well, I should see my stepfamily. It's like whatever you need to get through this time is the most important thing. And if they say, hey, we want you to come to Christmas dinner, you can just say, I appreciate the offer. It's really kind of you, but I think I want to take some time alone to process. And that's okay. And if they don't understand that, then, they're not great people. And
See 'em next year.
you don't want to see them. Yeah. It seems like you guys don't vibe, but it seems like they're normal and not crazy for the most part. So.
Stepmoms wanted a relationship with you.
Yeah.
Just nothing came naturally.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
Top comment, not the a-hole. It was nice of them to include you, but you by all means don't have to accept their offer. I'm sorry for your loss. If you need an excuse and want to potentially keep the door open in case you change your mind in the future, you can say you're still grieving and would rather be alone, which is what I said. So it's good advice. OP says, I'll say that I don't know what I want yet. I could one day feel like I miss and want them, but not right now. My dad's sister, my aunt, has been a great mother figure to me once my bio mom left me and my dad, so I call her my deaf immediate family. Commenter says, you are not the a-hole if you choose to cut them out. But people change, and somewhere along the road, you will probably regret such a hard decision. Why even cut them out? They're a living bridge to your late dad. He loved them, and he not only lives in your heart, but theirs also. And then OP responds, I probably asked the wrong question. I won't cut them out. I was just wondering if I'd be the a-hole for not showing up. I won't lie, I'm still grieving and kind of want to spend it with my aunt, my dad's sister, because she's been a mother figure ever since my actual mom left. And OP also responded to another commenter saying, I worded this wrong, should have said it more as me not going to them this holiday. I appreciate what they've done for me, and cutting them out isn't really something I want to do. Commenter says, what do you have to lose? My opinion is just go for it. By reaching out to you, it probably means she likes you at least a little bit, and obviously cares for your well-being if she wants to put food in your belly. OP says, I like your style, LOL. I'll try and go and see what happens. Oh, okay. Now it seems like OP is going to Christmas dinner.
Okay.
Everyone was like, don't cut them off. And she was like, I wasn't planning to. I guess, okay.
Kind of awkward right now.
Yeah. There is no ill will for either. And I do respect my stepsister a bit because she had to deal with me being a rebellious snot my teen years. And she could have hated me for that. And she didn't. And sorry about your dad, too. I talk to him every day, even if it was like a 5-second good morning. He tried his damnedest to give me the best because my mom was harmful as heck and just abandoned me. And another commenter says, not the a-hole. It's understandable that you don't want to spend the rest of your life trying to force a relationship with people you don't really have a deep connection with. But I do think it's lovely that they helped you with the funeral arrangements and invited you for Christmas, even though they weren't obligated to. So clearly they're not bad people. Perhaps just keep them on your Christmas and birthday card list and check in on them every now and then.
We got clickbaited. I thought,
Everything's fine.
yeah.
I mean, OP lost her father, which is awful. But in terms like of the step family, they seem pretty chill. And OP's like, I don't know, I wasn't up for it this year, but maybe I'll be good by Thanksgiving next year.
Yeah, there better be a turn. There better be a turn for the worst. And people going crazy,
Yeah,
cutting
there's
each
gonna be
other
an
out of their
update.
wheels.
Mhm.
This update would be wild.
Yeah, something's gonna happen. OP says, I like that idea. There is no ill will for either of them, but I feel no love for them. Though I do respect my stepsister for what I put her through with the constant fighting and still being, at the very least, cordial. Commenter says, not the a-hole since you have to grieve your own way, but keep in mind that they are grieving too and might want you there to patch things up and have a fresh start. OP says, I know I want to be there. I know I wasn't an easy teen, and I'm forever grateful for my stepmom not hating me for it, or my stepsister not resenting me for it. I won't be able to make it to this holiday, but I want to be there for them because I really am the only male family figure either of them have now. And OP is male, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
But there is an update.
Oh boy.
I decided not to cut my step family out of my life. I thought that was on the table. OP's
Yeah.
like, I've decided again. You said that it wasn't even going to happen.
She's trying to get Reddit rewards.
Yeah,
man.
literally, she's like, I'm going to cut them out. And then she's like, guys, I don't know where you got that idea from.
Wait, is this a dude
I'm
or
not
a
going to.
girl?
What? The guy, sorry. He's like, I don't know where you got that idea from. I was never going to cut them out. And then here he is again saying,
Bro.
my second question, if I was the a-hole, if I go or not, and people say it's up to me. So I went to my stepmom's place for Christmas. This was my first time with my stepmom and stepsister without my dad. It was super hard because I sat in the seat he always sat on, and I just broke down crying.
Oh.
I am forever grateful for both my stepsister and stepmom. Whoa, because we all just had a group hug on our couch while I bawled my eyes out. Stop, wait. OP's like, okay, I didn't want to say it earlier, but I felt like I think OP and step family just kind of misunderstood each other when they were growing up, and he never really gave them a chance.
Yeah.
And then when he was, he left at 18.
Yeah.
It's been, a couple years. Now he's 24.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like you've matured, and they've also, realized
Some
that
space.
yeah, you've had some space and you have this loss that you all have experienced for this person that you all love. And I was like, yeah, maybe you could probably give them another chance. And it seems like you did.
This is cute.
I love
This
it.
is adorable.
Yeah. Sometimes you feel like you want to be alone after like a terrible thing happens, or just like you're very sad.
But that's not what you should do.
Then you realize that, oh wow, actually when I'm with people, it's so much better, and I don't have to
Yeah.
sit in my sadness.
You have to go hang out with your stepmom that's always wanted a relationship with you.
Exactly.
Just do that.
Just do it. We had brunch and it went well, though I was holding in tears for the whole thing. This was the first time I could see that they actually did care for me, and I care for them. They're my family. I didn't stay the night because I couldn't do that, but I left around 11 at night. This was the first time I felt like a full family unit and not the bad kid who fought with my stepmom and wasn't the nicest to my stepsister. I thanked them so much for not holding a grudge when I went through my teen rebel phase. I hugged them both goodbye and went home. I feel like me giving them a shot and going to my dad's place helped me realize that these are the people who have always been there for me. I mean, they were the ones who didn't give up on me when I was a troubled teen, and I love them both for it.
Aww.
And I love when you guys listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left of this very wholesome story.
Very wholesome.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Dude, just misinterpretation.
Yeah.
This shows that space helps.
Absolutely. And also don't I think that a lot of times, we hold on to the grudges or the feelings that we had when we were teenagers, which are heavily influenced by being a teenager. And now you're an adult and you're going to have different feelings and thoughts, and
Yep, that's true.
give people a chance.
I remember right before I left for college, I was pretty, me and my mom were just butting heads with about everything. And then I left for college and things seemed to chill out. And then it got rough for a little bit because I didn't have the best relationship with another woman. My mom didn't like that. But other than that, everything was fine.
Yeah.
And we're cool now.
Yeah.
But it took a little bit for us to be on the same page.
Yeah. As you grow, your relationships change.
That's true.
I text my stepsister almost daily now. This is so sweet.
Aww.
Even if it's just a good morning or I have the day off, and I call my stepmom a bit too now, but it goes a bit deeper. And I've started to really trust her like a mom.
That's what you guys always
This is what you
wanted.
wanted.
Aww.
Thank you all for the advice and to not cut them out, because it really did help me realize that we are a family. We have been since I was 8, and I love and care for both of them very much. Commenter says, you, sir, just grew up. Feels good, doesn't it? I got closer to my stepmother when I warmed her at a burial in the UP of Michigan while my father was mourning the loss of his parent. Put the past behind you. You want a good grandmother in your kids' lives when you have kids. Opie says, I agree. I was a bad kid and brother growing up, and I regret that. I'm so glad neither of them held that against me and just saw it as a bratty teen. Once I have kids, I think having a good aunt and grandma will be awesome for them. Yay!
Aww.
Yay! This is great.
No,
this is so good.
You're crying. I'm not crying.
No, I'm not crying. Shut up. This is so sweet. I love this.
I love family.
This is they're so cute. OP really. I like to think that like OP's dad is looking, because this is probably what he always wanted. All the people he loved to be connected, and he's like like loss is really hard, but also out of loss you get like this beautiful coming together.
Personally, not a fan of this story.
I like it
because I need more disruption and more things like that went wrong. Yeah. Everything
went right.
He just had a concern and he figured it out, and it was great.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes we need the reminder that not everything is gonna get worse and worse and worse.
Nah, that's not what I'm here for.
No way.
I'm here for the tea.